This is ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. We welcome you to Rutgers Stadium in Piscataway, New Jersey, as the Scarlet Knights host West Virginia in a Big East matchup. And welcome to Jimmy V Week on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation for Cancer Research in tribute to Jim Valvano and his dream to defeat cancer. With Bob Greasy and Chris Billman, I'm Dave Pash, and guys, a lot of talent on display in this game today. Rutgers doing it with rookies, West Virginia with veterans.
Well, let's start with West Virginia and take a look at the fifth-year senior quarterback in Jared Brown, a true dual threat. Obviously, he can hurt you with his arm, but he's a big, powerful runner. Then move aside. Here comes Noel Devine. Little guy, and you can stop him. You can stop him, but if you blink, he's gone in a heartbeat, Grease.
And Dave, the rookies you referred to for Rutgers are both true freshmen on the left. Tom Savage, the quarterback, took over 9 games ago, 7-2 as a starter, and Mohamed Sanu, a wide receiver, a true freshman, come in. He has lit it up. The present is now, but the future for Rutgers football is very bright with those 2 young men.
The past has not been so good, though, against West Virginia. The Mountaineers have won the last 14 meetings, but, hey, the Nets finally won a game last night, so all things are possible in the state of New Jersey.
And Coach Schiano doesn't like to talk about that past. That has nothing to do with 2009, you know, right?
Well, they're
He's right. Yeah.
They're 0-14, and Greg Schiano is 0-8 against West Virginia. So, and why is that, guys? I mean, why is that? Sometimes it's the uniform colors. It's just something. Sometimes you go into a game, you know you're going to have a good feeling about winning, and sometimes I used to go into games and I don't know how about this game's going to turn out, you know?
It's matchups, and West Virginia, Rutgers has had a hard time matching West Virginia athletically over the years.
Guys, a lot hanging in the balance here in terms of bowl implications, depending on not only the winner of this game, but the winner of the Cincinnati-Pitt game. That game's about 5 minutes away from kicking off. Who do you like in that game today in the Big East Championship?
Well, I saw a little shot a little earlier of the weather that was over there, and if the weather is bad, that Cincinnati offense through the air, a lot of it is through the air with Brian Kelly. I would think that Cincinnati would have trouble playing in bad weather on the road.
I think Dion Lewis is going to have a big game. And the other thing is Pittsburgh can bring pressure with just 4 with that defensive line. They can drop 7 to handle the short possession passing game of the Bearcats.
Rain here in Piscataway. The lights are on. Temperature around 40 degrees. Rutgers kicking off. And Mark Rogers had trouble with it back at the 10-yard line, and he won't even get to the 15. Khalil Glaude, the first to greet him inside the 15-yard line. Jared Brown, 10-3 as a starting quarterback, 5th-year senior. One of those wins 3 seasons ago. 3 overtimes when West Virginia beat Rutgers when both teams were ranked in the top 20. He took over for Pat White that day and is replacing the outstanding quarterback of the Mountaineers now with the Miami Dolphins. Noel Devine motions out of the backfield, and Brown to throw on first down. And it's complete over the middle. Jock Sanders picks up about 6 yards on first down as you see the starting offensive players at the top of your screen.
Well, I like the play call just to, if anything, to get your quarterback in rhythm. And Jared Brown is a rhythm passer, but to get everybody involved. And he does a good job of spreading the ball around to different playmakers on the Mountaineer offense.
West Virginia leading the Big East in rushing. And Rutgers second in the conference in rush defense. And this is going to be a first down. Out across the 25-yard line is Jock Sanders. And near the 29 as we look at our impact players now, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Well, Jared Brown has waited a long time to be the star. And guess what? He's been a star this year. Outstanding player and having an outstanding year. There you go, the speedster. He can explode on you at any time. Noel Devine. And on defense at 6'5", Robert Sands will be an impact player today.
And you mentioned Devine, over 1,230 yards on the season rushing as Brown has Sanders wide open downfield. Sanders has touched it on the first 3 plays for West Virginia, and they're in Rutgers territory.
If you're playing cover 2 defense, boys, you have to have a linebacker carry the inside receiver to the safeties. Why? Because he splits the safeties and there's no help. One of the linebackers has to jump him to help his safeties out.
28-yard pass play, and West Virginia no huddling as usual. And Brown faked everybody out inside the 20, inside the 5, and out of bounds. Everybody on Rutgers fell for the fake handoff by the quarterback Jarrett Brown. 38-yard run.
I think what we're seeing is Rutgers defensively right there. They're looking for Nevine to get the ball. He has not touched it yet. All the passing is going other places, and this a fake to Nevine. Yesterday, in talking to the Rutgers coaches, they said the first thing is we've got to stop Noel Devine. He hasn't touched it yet, and they've moved it down the field.
From the 5, 1st and goal. Here's Devine with his first touch, and he's got a touchdown. Great opening first drive by the Mountaineers on the road.
Too easy, and great play calling on the side of West Virginia. Jeff Mullen and that offensive staff knowing that everybody's going to be looking for Noel Devine and moving the ball down there. Just really good play calling on their behalf.
Devine second in the Big East in rushing. That's his 12th touchdown of the season. And freshman Tyler Bittencourt, who won the Pittsburgh game last week with a 43-yard field goal as time expired, pokes it through.
Two things, boys, right there. The tempo. They came out fast tempo, quick plays. That bothered the Rutgers defense, and they're slanting away from the play, which makes the offensive line's job much easier. You saw the front 7 for Rutgers go to the left. As you see it, take a look. They're all going inside. Noel Devine showing patience and burst. And when you're that little and you can hide behind those defensive linemen, a lot of time it's hard for safeties and linebackers to pick them up. But that was a right call against the right defense if you're a Mountaineer offensive player. Outstanding call, as you mentioned, Bob. They hit them. They hit them on their weakness.
5-play, 86-yard drive that took 1:52 off the clock. And Cincinnati-Pittsburgh playing for the Big East Championship. But if West Virginia wins and Cincinnati wins, the Mountaineers, by virtue of beating Pittsburgh, will finish second. Now, in terms of bowl tie-ins, the Big East doesn't have a rule where you have to have only one fewer win to go above a team that has a better record than you. So all indications are West Virginia is going to go to the Gator Bowl regardless of the outcome. But again, that depends on what happens in the Cincinnati-Pitt game. Depending on who you talk to, West Virginia could still go to the Gator Bowl above Cincinnati, even if Cincinnati were to lose today to Pittsburgh.
Well, what really helps in the Big East is how well your team travels as far as fans.
Yep.
And anybody that knows anything about college football and the passion of Mountaineer fans, they know they're going to travel.
Bottom line is, Sunday night at about 8 o'clock, 8:30, everybody will know where everybody's going.
And you can watch that selection show on ESPN on 8 o'clock tomorrow night as the short kickoff is fielded at the 31-yard line by Eric LeGrand. So that's where Rutgers will start its first possession. Tom Savage, who has set the Big East record for passing yards by a true freshman quarterback. 7-2 record. Replacing Mike Teal, who's now in the NFL.
Dominic Natale started the season, 5th-year senior for Rutgers. And this young man, Savage, came in the second half. Natale had 3 interceptions in the first half, and Natale was benched. Savage came in, and he's been in there ever since.
Savage, a big kid, 6'5", 225, 230 pounds. He finds his tight end, Shamar Grays, for about 7 yards as we take a look at our impact players. Brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Looking forward to seeing young Tom Savage, and I think you guys are too out there. He has really lit it up this year. Good future ahead for him. Mohamed Sanu, the same thing, a true freshman, outstanding wide receiver, will run the Wildcat for this team. And Devin McCourty, not only is he good on defense, but look for him on special teams. He's got 7 career blocks.
Sanu is in there now at quarterback on 2nd down and short, and trying to get to the outside, but West Virginia's got a lot of speed. Sanu last week had 148 yards rushing against Louisville. That was Louisville. This is West Virginia, much better and faster defense. Nate Sowers made the tackle. There's no question, though, Sanu is going to be a player. Freshman from South Brunswick, New Jersey. Savage back in there, quarterback now on 3rd down and 6. Savage with a ton of time, and he's got Graves for the first down into West Virginia territory at the 41, brought down by Kent Richardson.
Graves coming into the game has only had 2 receptions starting out. Now he has, or 10 receptions. He has 2 this game. And again, it's running down the middle of the field. Now, I don't know if that was the right route, but it worked out because anytime you have Sanu and Graves that close together, somebody ran the wrong route because obviously when 2 receivers are together, you're bringing more defenders in. But Savage, when you got it going, you got it going. And a big target in Graves at 6'4".
That old linebacker knows that. Those receivers aren't supposed to be that close together.
No. Mistake.
Of course, he liked it when 2 guys where he could light one of them up.
Yeah.
As the Antoine Williams, another freshman for Rutgers, takes it off left edge and gets about 3 or 4. West Virginia starting defensive players up top.
It's a different defense now. It's a 3-3-5, and a lot of teams implemented a 3-3-5 to go against spread offenses. And West Virginia is the only defense in the Big East. 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. But what you'll see is Sowers, number 12. He acts like a linebacker. Right here he is on your screen. And he plays up close to that line of scrimmage, and a physical kid and a big kid inside.
Play fake for Savage and dumping it off. First down, Graves again. And look at him go. Breaking tackles all the way to the 20.
I like the play call. He had both wide receivers split out to the wide side, a little play action and roll out. And then he hits Graves, who is sneaking out behind the line of scrimmage. Nice catch by Graves and a good job of running. That's a good play when you sneak that back or tight end behind the line of scrimmage. It's hard for those linebackers to pick up their coverage.
17-yard pickup. So Rutgers moving it down the field. And again, Savage with time. Ball is tipped and incomplete. Robert Sands was back there and had a beat on it, but it was too far for him to run.
It's a good play by the defensive lineman in your screen, Julian Miller, to get the big Paul up because he was hitting Sanu across the middle, and Sanu had room to run. You see Sanu lined up inside. Julian Miller will get that big Paul up. If he doesn't get the Paul up, Sanu catches about 5 yards, and the nearest defender next to him was about 15 away. Sanu takes it up the field, and great run after catch ability would have made something happen big.
Play clock down to 5. And going to be a running play. Joe Martinick breaking 1 tackle and brought down by J.T. Thomas. No gain. Chris Neal hit him initially in the backfield. It'll bring up 3rd down and 10.
Let's see if you have Graves still in your playbook. I mean, Graves is obviously a part of that man's offensive game plan today, Greg Schiano. And he's a hard matchup. He's a hard matchup for linebackers, and he's almost too big for safeties. So right now you have Sidney Glover. Here's Graves, guy they've been going to. That's Sidney Glover right there. That's a smaller safety on a big tight end.
Savage, and that pass too high for 5'8" Tim Brown. If he was 5'10", he might have caught it.
Yeah, that one's on the quarterback. He's limping. Tim Brown has been injured coming into the ball game, and that would be a big loss if he couldn't continue. But that ball was way overthrown on Savage, and he knows it.
Last week, Brown playing with that injury still caught 7 passes in a win against Louisville. San Santee on now for a 38-yard field goal attempt. He's missed 8 times though this year. And he squeaks that one through the right upright. So Rutgers comes up with 3 points on his first drive. Back in Piscataway, New Jersey, West Virginia leading Rutgers 7-3. Scarlet Knights able to get a field goal on their first drive after West Virginia marched down the field in less than 2 minutes.
That was a good answer by Rutgers because As you know, West Virginia can hurt you in a hurry. Rutgers needed to do something to respond, and they got points off their first ball possession.
Teddy Delagana kicking away to Tavon Austin, who does have a kick return for a touchdown this year. He's a true freshman, and this time he's out across the 20-yard line. Well, guys, we talked about how quickly West Virginia scored, and this offense has been pretty good for a while. This is the 8th consecutive year where the Mountaineers have won at least 8 regular season games.
Well, they've had Pat White for a big part of that. And a lot of the credit has to go to Jeff Mullen, the offensive coordinator. But West Virginia's offense, they're a spread, get the ball down the field, and they've always had good runners.
Well, and they know what to recruit. They recruit to their offense, and their players respond to this offense, and they fit right in. It's just been a great job from Bill Stewart, from Rich Rod when he was there, to Bill Stewart now, just keeping it going.
Jared Brown on first down will hand it off, and Devine to the outside, and he'll get out of bounds at about the 32-yard line, gain of about 8. Starting defense for Rutgers at the top of your screen. By the way, Chris, nice coat. I thought it had to be below 0 for you to wear a coat.
Well, I just wanted to fit in with you guys.
Okay, all right.
It's my Arthur Fonzarelli jacket, man.
Hey, the weather is going. The forecast is for it to get a lot worse than it is right now. The temperature's in the 30s, and we're expecting some light rain or light snow. At least by halftime.
It's been raining off and on so far, but snow possibly by the end of the game as the temperature drops into the 30s, maybe even the 20s, and it's windy down on the field too. On 2nd and 1, Brown gets clocked. Big hit by Eric LeGrand. Loss on the play of 1. And right now 41. Wind chill 35, and again gusts to 16 miles an hour. But on the field, we noticed it before the game when during the national anthem some of the flags were out and the wind was whipping down there.
And if you're Rutgers defense, you want all the snow, the rain, and the wind you can find to slow this team down. Jared Brown wants to discuss things.
So timeout. West Virginia. Bill Stewart and company will talk about it. So will Greg Schiano. See what he can come up with defensively against the Mountaineers on 3rd down when we come back.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Dr. Pepper. The Coaches Trophy presented by Dr. Pepper will be awarded to the 2010 BCS National Champion.
Back at Rutgers, where it is cold. Temperature dipping into the 30s, maybe the 20s by the end of today. Both these teams with 8 wins playing for perhaps bowl positioning, depending on what happens in the Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game. West Virginia leading, 3rd down, and Jared Brown going to get taken down in the backfield. George Johnson got off a block and made a play.
I don't like that call. Jared Brown is not a guy you want running a sweep for you. He's more of a power quarterback. Run him up inside, but don't run him around the end.
You see,
never got containment. Yeah.
George Johnson takes a big Tyler Urban to tight end, got his hands inside. Man with the inside hands usually wins that battle, sheds the blocker, and a good open field tackle on the big quarterback. I'm with you, Grizz. Put the ball in the hands of Noel. If you're going outside.
Yeah.
Scott Kozlowski to boot it away. Greg Schiano told us yesterday that he's worried about a fake punt by West Virginia as Sanu comes up with a fair catch. Right now we're going to go to the studio and check in with Reese Davis.
Dave, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh for the Big East Championship in our Taco Bell studio update. And I mean, the Panthers just smashed Cincinnati. This is a 4th down play. Dion Lewis converts. 12 plays, 56 yards. Lewis carried it 11 times for 51 yards, including the touchdown. Pittsburgh eating up the clock early and up 7-0 on the Bearcats.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough game for Cincinnati and their finesse offense and their passing. Oh, that's a tough smash mouth game with that running game of Pittsburgh.
Here's Sanu playing the quarterback position on the Wildcat, pushes the pile for 7. Robert Sands brought him down. More college football tonight. Final piece of the championship puzzle will be in place. That's if Texas wins. Otherwise, who knows who will play in the national title game. Texas, Nebraska in the Big 12. Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game on ABC. tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Colt McCoy, the most wins by a quarterback in FBS history.
Now look at those numbers. Look at some of those numbers.
Yeah.
71% completion rate for a career.
Did he clinch the Heisman last week, guys, with his performance against A&M?
You have to do it again tonight.
He's got my vote.
And Savage looking downfield, and he's got Sanu inside the 40 to the 38.
Just about Sanu. I mean, here's a guy that did not play his senior year, came in and started out as a safety. Coach Allen said he might be one of our best safeties, but you're looking at a true freshman that also has quarterback skills, but this is where he excels at wide receiver. Then you can put him in the backfield at the Wildcat. One thing they're trying to develop with Sanu at the Wildcat position is he can throw the football.
Yeah.
Now, Coach Schiano told us he can jack it 70 yards through the air. Now, I got to see that to believe it, but he can do it. And if he can develop a throwing game off this Wildcat, they become very dangerous and very difficult to defend.
He'll run it here. West Virginia defends it well as Scooter Berry takes him down. Guys, I want to go back to what we were talking about earlier, because Bob, I get the sense that you feel Colt McCoy is the Heisman winner, and just based on your answer, Chris, you think that it's not definite yet.
No, I don't think it's definite yet, and I think you got to look what Tebow does tonight in a big game. And how about Mark Ingram? Does he have a chance to come back in a big game to shine? Toby Gerhardt out at Stanford, the Keaton kid out at Houston, and
So
of
it's
course
not the whole body of work, the whole season?
Yeah, it's the whole body of work. Absolutely.
It's just one game, huh?
No, it's a whole body of work, and that's why Ingram was the front runner up until 2 weeks ago.
Heisman ceremony next Saturday on ESPN as Martinick tries to get outside, and he's going to lose yardage. The first man there was Reed Williams. It'll bring up 3rd down and long.
He's got to stay inside. He's not going to outrun anybody to the corner. He's a big, powerful kid. You stick it up inside and run somebody over.
You mentioned the 3-3-5 that West Virginia plays defensively, and those guys are quick. Those linebackers and the defensive backs are quick, and they can get out there and make that play.
Back-to-back negative plays, and it's 3rd down and 14.
Tim Brown is not on the field. Explosive receiver for the Scarlet Knights.
Savage stepping up, and his pass nearly intercepted by Reed Williams.
He was on the field, Dave. I just couldn't see him.
It's hard to find. 5 feet 8 inches tall. He was the intended receiver.
Take a look at the pass rush and the pass protection. Good protection for Savage all day long. That's a bad throw. He never saw. That's the problem of a freshman, a true freshman quarterback. He sees his receiver, but you got to look at the defenders. You know where your receiver's going. Look at the defenders that are in the area where you're throwing the ball. That time, the linebacker snuck over there, knocked it down.
Delegana to punt, try to pin West Virginia deep. Brandon Hogan back for the Mountaineers. It's going to go into the end zone. It'll come out to the 20. West Virginia leading Rutgers 7-3. Under 5 to play in the first quarter here in Piscataway. Back at Rutgers, West Virginia's offense back on the field, leading the Scarlet Knights 7-3. West Virginia has dominated this series, winning 14 straight over the Scarlet Knights. First down from the 20, Brown to throw, and dumps it off to Arnett for a gain of about 4 as we look back at our Liberty Mutual drive recap, the first drive of the game for West Virginia. Big run there by Jarrett Brown, totally fooled the Rutgers defense, and then Noel Devine taking it in for his 12th rushing touchdown.
In fact, both teams scored on their first drive.
Well, Rutgers had to settle for 3 as Devine gets to the outside. Look out, he's dangerous. And they catch up to him at the 42. Well, last week against Pittsburgh, Devine did that and went for 88 yards against Pittsburgh in the backyard brawl.
Well, here's what Rutgers keeps doing. They keep slanting to one side, and Noel Devine is getting the ball deep enough in the backfield where he has the time, because the offensive line protect him, to read the defense, then uses great speed and burst to get outside. Not a lot of guys can run outside, but he has the speed to get the corner, and he'll hurt you when he gets that corner.
He's already 5th all time at West Virginia in rushing, and he's got another year. He's a junior. Brown going to go deep, and he's got a strong arm as he finds Arnett inside the Rutgers 30. He put it over the linebacker's head perfectly to Arnett to the 26-yard line.
I'm impressed with Jared Brown. He's hit a couple of throws, sets up in the pocket, delivers it. Nice, easy throw down the middle. Just barely over the linebacker, Bohannes. Good play for West Virginia.
And an end around to Sanders, and he's taken down to the 25-yard line. A lot of different guys will touch the football on offense for West Virginia, both as receivers and as runners.
And that's what makes them so difficult to defend. And they're so good athletically at all their skill positions. A lot of times they overmatch any defense with their athletes. They're better just athlete for athlete. They're better than a lot of teams that they play.
They've won 4 straight bowl games, including a pair of BCS games. They also beat Georgia Tech in the Gator Bowl in the last 4 years. So they've got it going on offense as Devine takes it to the 20.
Did you see that little move?
Yeah, it was nice.
Usually you see a tight end shift or a back shift. That time we had the left tackle or the left side lineman shift over to the right side and making an unbalanced line to the right side.
Now, if you're Rutgers, you got to be able to see that. And then that's where you slant everybody that way, because I promise you the ball's going that way.
And it did go that way.
Play clock down to 5 as Brown finds Sanders. Good catch because the pass was a little behind him, but it's a first down for West Virginia. Zaire Kitchen on the coverage.
Well, it starts with trust, and right there the offensive line slid to the blitz where the pressure was coming. Watch the offensive line. They're all sliding that way. That's where the pressure's coming, which allows Jared Brown to stand tall in the pocket. And Jock Sanders, one of those little guys that can be an impact player in the NFL, in my opinion, we'll get into that later, does a great job of adjusting and catching the ball with his hands.
He's 5'7", 175 pounds. Here's another little guy, Tavon Austin, and the true freshman at 5'9", 165 pounds, takes it to the 5-yard line. Yet West Virginia also has guys like Wes Lyons that are 6 feet 8 inches tall that play offense.
And a wide receiver. Lyons is a 6'8" wide receiver. They have the big and the short of it, and they've got Brown throwing it, doing a very nice job starting off the ball game. Before the bad weather hits, throw that ball early, guys. Let's go.
There's Lyons at 6 feet 8 in motion. They'll hand it off to Clark, the up back. And he has the first down, and he's down short of the goal line. Zaire Kitchen and Ryan D'Imperio team up on the tackle. It'll be first and goal.
Yeah, you'll see the offensive line getting a good push, and there's something interesting about this Mountaineer offensive line that you will not see in many FBS schools. It was close enough to see, but they don't have one guy over 300 pounds. Now, how many offensive lines in an FBS school have guys over 300 pounds?
Yeah, good point.
West Virginia, 0, because of the tempo and the type of offense they run.
And they can move. They got athletes on that offensive line. Clark over the top and in. Touchdown, West Virginia. Seventh rushing touchdown of the year for Clark. He's a redshirt freshman.
You don't see this play enough, do you, Grease?
Well, it's the big back. You know, we're talking about the little guys. We're talking about Sanders and Devine. That's Clark, the big back. He weighs 230. They give him, he's got a lot of touchdowns because he gets to run the ball inside the 5-yard line.
Bittenkurt for the point after. A 9-play, 80-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 1 second, culminating in a 1-yard touchdown run by Ryan Clark. West Virginia 14-3 lead. Back at Rutgers, 14-3, West Virginia on top. Well, the Mountaineers coming off a big win in the backyard brawl against Pittsburgh.
You know, it's interesting. It was a great win. Bill Stewart went out to practice Tuesday and basically threw a nutty on his guys. They couldn't handle success, and so he really jumped them and jumped them hard. Now, they went out, and we talked to him on Wednesday. They came out and did a good job on Wednesday, and what it's shown me is that he's taken control of his football team, and they've responded to his energy and his enthusiasm.
And what did he tell us? He was going to have Don Nealon come out?
Yeah,
and
Coach Nealon.
He said, this is a championship fight. I want the coach there.
LeGrand muffed it, then scooped it up as they kick it short again, and he's out across the 35-yard line. As mentioned, West Virginia coming off that huge win in the backyard brawl against Pitt.
The 102nd edition of the Backyard Brawl, tied at 6.
Incredibly divine touchdown, Mountaineers. Tie game, touchdown.
From 43 yards out for the win for the Mountaineers. Bittencourt.
And I don't know if you can call it revenge from 2 years ago, but it certainly feels good. That one 2 years ago when West Virginia lost at home to Pitt as Sanu drops the pass incomplete. West Virginia, that cost them a national championship perhaps, as we go to the studio and check in with Reese Davis.
Dave, the Conference USA Championship game, Houston and East Carolina. With this pass that Case Keenum almost had intercepted, but squeezes it in there to James Cleveland. Keenum becomes just the second quarterback to have 5,000 yards passing in a season twice. That made it 7-0, but on 3rd and goal, Dominique Lindsay answers, and the Pirates have it tied late in the first. It's on ESPN2.
I guess it's a good thing that game's not in Houston with the weather in Houston, although it's supposed to be decent today in Texas as Martinick takes it across the 40. Temperatures in the 50s in Houston, by the way, today. 3rd down coming up now. We close in on the final seconds here of the first quarter.
I hear on the weather forecast last night that this is the first time ever that it snowed in Houston before it snowed in Syracuse. Yeah.
Rain coming down harder here. Rutgers lost at Syracuse a couple weeks ago, bounced back with a win over Louisville. And as we reach the end of the first quarter, trailing West Virginia 14-3 at home as it continues to rain and the temperature continues to drop in Piscataway. Welcome back to ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Here at Rutgers Stadium, the Scarlet Knights with the football trailing 14-3 as we start the second quarter. No penalties, no turnovers in that first quarter. A couple of good drives, though, by West Virginia's offense.
Big 3rd down here, Dave. Need to convert.
Got to keep that Mountaineer offense on the sideline as Savage spins out of a would-be sack. And then took a page out of a book that Mark Sanchez has been studying but not practicing as he stumbles to the 40-yard line. Rutgers will have to punt.
Yeah, 38-yard line got him. You look at Savage, and he's a good runner. He's mobile. He moves around. And sometimes when you're not used to being a runner, Bob, your mind gets ahead of your feet a little bit. He was getting ready to throw his move out there.
And like we've been saying, he's inexperienced. You know, what is it? He's got lots of talent, lots of upside, but he's inexperienced. He hasn't been through a lot of this at this level. He only came in the summer. He wasn't here in the spring. Didn't go through spring practice with him.
But he's been pretty efficient this year. Only 4 interceptions thrown by Savage. Delegana punting. Jock Sanders will field it at the 20-yard line. And gets stood up at the 26 as we check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Dave, the game that will decide the Big East Championship, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh scored on a Dion Lewis run, and then Isaiah Peed weaving his way through Panther defenders and setting up that quick strike Cincinnati offense while Pittsburgh churned up the clock on its drive. Cincinnati, a couple of explosive plays, and then Jacob Ramsey finishing it off. 7-7. They're going to the second quarter. Dion Lewis already with 75 yards rushing.
All right, Reese, here it's 14-3 West Virginia. And Noel Devine hit in the backfield and cut down by Joe LaFedge.
The running games are going to be important here today, and it's going to be important over in Pittsburgh where Cincinnati is playing. Pete making that big play down the field for Cincinnati.
See Joe LaFedge, your safety, playing linebacker And all he does is his speed and mismatch on the offensive lineman. Capers can't get to him. LaFed just shoots the gap and a good open field tackle on a slippery guy in Noel Devine.
Sanders in the backfield now with Jared Brown, and looked like a intentional bounce pass, incomplete. He's trying to bounce it off the turf and just slip out of his hand.
He was going to throw it. He saw the defender there, and he tried to grab the ball, and it just came out of his hand.
And it looked like initially he was intending to do that, but have to imagine in the rain that it slipped out.
Well, he sees the defender, and he tries to stop, and the ball just comes out. You know, you have to have been a quarterback to have been there and done that before, but that's what you see, the red shirt right there on Sanders.
3rd down and 13.
It was the right, as it turned out, it was the right thing to do.
And that pass is low and incomplete as Rutgers finally stops the Mountaineers and forces a punt. Sanders was the intended receiver. David Rowe on the coverage.
That's the kind of response you want on a Scarlet Knight defense. Getting a 3 and out, and it all starts with stopping the run on 1st down and put them in the 3rd and 13. And as Bob always tells me, there's not a lot of plays for 3rd and 13.
Coach Schuler used to say on the sideline, anything longer than 3rd and 13, 14, he says, you got us into this mess, you get us out. Because I had taken a sack or something, you know.
Throw the ball away, Grease. Come on.
I know.
Kozlowski to punt. Devin McCourty, number 21 in red, dangerous, as Sanu's going to let that one roll inside the 30. McCourty's got 7 career block kicks and got close earlier in the game as the wind continues to push that football down to the 15. We'll see what Tom Savage can do when he gets back under center for Rutgers when the Knights come back on the field. Welcome back to rainy Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights down by 11. Early 2nd quarter. See if that rain turns to snow by the end of the game. Sanu in at quarterback on 1st down. And trying to find a hole, instead finds the arms of Julian Miller. No gain. Join Reese, Mark Lou, and Jesse Palmer tomorrow night for the Bowl Selection Special. The matchup of all 34 bowl games will be announced and dissected by the analysts. The Bowl Selection Special powered by Chevy Silverado on ESPN tomorrow, 8 Eastern. Meanwhile, the right guard, Howard Barbieri, shaken up for Rutgers. We may know before then where West Virginia and Rutgers are headed. Both will be going bowling with at least 8 wins apiece. A lot of people feel it's a done deal that West Virginia is going to the Gator Bowl regardless of what happens in that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game. Let's check in now with Reese Davis in the studio.
All right, Dave, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh back and forth they go while Dion Lewis has controlled things on the ground. Old Bill Stull can pitch it around, and look at this spectacular catch from Jonathan Baldwin. You see him saying incomplete, no waving it. That's why we have instant replay. Ball caught, foot down, touchdown Panthers. 14-7. Pitt has the lead in the 2nd.
Already 3 touchdowns combined scored in that game. Some thought that might be like a 13-10 final.
The thing with Cincinnati, and obviously their offense, and they're well coached with Brian Kelly on both sides, but their defense, as we saw last week when we did Illinois and Cincinnati, their defense has holes in it. In Pittsburgh, that type of weather is suited for what Dave wants to do. And Dion Lewis, I mean, Dion Lewis is a beast for a real beast. Then you add Baldwin into the mix. They're potent on offense.
Well, Pitt has turned out players under Dave Wanstead. And you look at Darrell Revis starring for the New York Jets, 1st-round pick. Sean McCoy, what he's doing as a rookie.
The wide receiver, you guys, Fitzgerald out there.
Fitzgerald, although he was prior to Wanstead, but Pitt has turned out a lot of good players the last decade, no question. Lewis ahead of Noel Devine in terms of rushing in the Big East. As here's Tim Brown on the end around, and he gets bumped out by Reed Williams at the 16, so not much there on that play.
Well, I like the call. I mean, Tim Brown's a playmaker. He's explosive. He's got a little gimp. You see that little hop in his giddy up right there. That's that ankle, but he's a tough kid that's going to play, Grease.
And Rutgers is struggling for offense now. You see him go to the Wildcat on second down. They run a reverse. They just need some offense, and that's what happens a lot of times when you play a true freshman quarterback. You know, it's that, you know, you're just going to struggle.
Here's Savage, and he threw a strike, but it was dropped by Julian Hayes at the 30-yard line.
That's the plays they're going to have to make, obviously, to hang with West Virginia. But I just want to go back. When you're going with Savage, you got a true freshman quarterback. Then you have the Wildcat in Sanu. Obviously, that's a weapon for him. Aren't you in danger of getting Savage out of rhythm? He's in rhythm on this throw, and this is a play that you have to make. But just the overall philosophy of having a quarterback not take every snap and have the ball in his hands.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
You know, he's young, and he can judge, and he's not out of it for like more than 1 or 2 plays. And he's not out of the game. He's always lined up at flanker.
Delegano to punt again. And short kick. Sanders going to let it bounce in midfield, and West Virginia will have excellent field position at its own 49-yard line. When we come back,
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry, with 5 times the selection of ordinary jewelry stores. And Subway restaurants. Watch this week's Subway Fresh Take video for a refreshing look at sports. Go to ESPN.com. Search Fresh Take.
Jimmy V Week on ESPN, and Jim Valvano played basketball at Rutgers, a 1967 graduate. He was inducted into the school's Basketball Hall of Fame back in 1993. And West Virginia gives it to Clark on first down, and he plows forward for about 5 yards. Well, you can help us beat cancer. The V Foundation will proudly award 100% of your donation directly to fund cancer research. So log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. The women's and men's Jimmy V Classics set for Monday and Tuesday to wrap up a Jimmy V Week on the ESPN family of networks. Another handoff. Divine hit at the point of attack by Boharness and brought down.
I like with the Rutgers adjustment right here to West Virginia. West Virginia was hurting them outside run, so what Rutgers started to do is bring their pressure from the outside, kind of forcing Noel Divine to hit it back inside. But you still got to be stout in the middle, but it's a good adjustment by Greg Schiano and his defensive staff.
They could use a stop here. West Virginia moving it easily, and Rutgers for the most part today, and great starting field position.
Here they come.
And Brown going to go deep, got one-on-one coverage, and Arnett had it broken up by Devin McCourty. Great play by the senior playing on senior day.
This is just a little pressure. Everybody's coming up front. You got one man-to-man coverage. McCourtney sees when the receiver looks back. He looks back and knocks it away. And
you see that right arm? You see that right arm split the arm of the receivers? That's a well-trained corner right there. Getting that right arm up in there between the arms of the wide receiver. Outstanding effort.
Sorry, Chris, his twin brother Jason playing in the NFL with the Titans. Devin will be in the NFL next year, no question. Sanu back to receive the punt from Kozlowski. And it will go into the end zone, and so Rutgers will start this drive at the 20. Well, guys, as mentioned, it's Jimmy V Week, and both of your families have been impacted by the deadly disease of cancer, and both of you know how important cancer research is.
Well, you're right. It's impacted both of us. And, you know, I knew Jimmy a little bit, and I know his brother Nick Valvano, and Nick has been so gracious to I'm with the Moffitt Cancer Foundation in Tampa, and they're a research hospital that has done great things for research. And they have some of this money that they're raising today. In the past, I think $2.5 million Nick Valvano has given for cancer research. So it's a great thing, and cancer is a big part of the Moffitt Hospital.
Jim's other brother, Bob Valvano, also heavily involved. And a false start going to be the call here.
Number 10, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Well, guys, I know this, and I just recently lost my wife to breast cancer, but research gave her years that she would not have had. The answer's in God's grace and research. If we can put those things together in the goodness of your giving and the help that you can give us, you're going to impact a lot of families' lives. It's going to keep loved ones longer than they're supposed to be. And also, research is the key to a cure. I'm absolutely convinced of that.
Well said, Spiels, as Reed Williams takes down the quarterback, Tom Savage, back inside his 5-yard line.
That's the blitz right here. You see number 47, Reed Williams, in the middle of your screen, coming in on a blitz. And I'll tell you, as a linebacker, how come that never happened to me?
He was untouched.
That never happened to me, where I get to run through and nobody touches me, and I get to tackle the quarterback. I had 350-pound guys.
I mean, they should make
shoving
that
their
play.
claws through my Adam's apple.
Nobody touched him. A lineman didn't touch him. Offensive back didn't touch him. You should make that play.
So we went from no mistakes to now back-to-back penalty and sack. There was nothing before that, and then Savage throws incomplete and would not have had a first down anyway, intended for Graves. And so West Virginia's going to get it back here.
He's a little rattled, thrown out of his own end zone, been sacked, backed up, and all that other stuff.
Check that third down at 25.
Yeah.
So here's what you do if you're West Virginia. I come with a blitz again, believe it or not. Well, 3rd and 25, because I'm going to play the odds that Rutgers is going to run a draw or a little screen. I come with blitz and put pressure on them right now.
And offensively, I'm thinking, all right, young quarterback, don't make a mistake. Back here, backed up inside your 5-yard line. Don't make a mistake. It's okay to punt from here.
And that's bizarro thinking if you come with a blitz, and obviously they're not thinking like I am.
And Sanu dropped immediately as Scooter Berry
got
that play.
A few boos here, but that was a good play. You throw it outside, you give him a chance to make a play. It's something safe, and if you can't make the play, punt it away.
Yeah, Big Scooter did a good job of recognizing a short step of the offensive tackle, retracing his steps and chasing that down from behind.
Delegano going to have to punt from deep in his own end zone, but at least he's warmed up. He's been punting a lot already here in the first half.
Into the wind, so you play the field position game. Don't go for the block.
And Sanders at his 45 finds a hole and will get to the 44 of Rutgers before he's planted by Jim Dumont. Now, the mission of 2009 Jimmy V Week is to drive awareness for cancer research, and in the last 2 years, Jimmy V Week has raised more than $1.4 million. And again, and it needs to be reiterated that 100% of your donations, all donations, go directly to cancer research. 1-800-4-JIMMY-V, or go to jimmyv.org.
You know, one of the great things that they're doing now in cancer research is genetic profiling. And it just, the more money, the more they can do some research, the better it's going to get.
Noel Devine going to lose a handful as Bo Harness, the outstanding true freshman linebacker that Greg Schiano is so high on, from Saddlebrook, New Jersey, led the charge.
The other thing that helps is as a defensive line, if you get penetration in the outside pressure led by Jonathan Freeney at defensive end, was able to turn that inside to allow the pursuit to come get Noel.
Brown over the middle, and Sanders able to wiggle out of a couple tackles and get to the 37-yard line.
West Virginia's had their way pretty much the entire first half, and if this is going to turn around, a Scarlet Knight on defense or on special teams is going to have to make a play. The offense needs a jump start, and the defense can give them that.
Rutgers called timeout before the snap. So West Virginia will have the football inside Rutgers' 40-yard line with a third down and short when we come back. Championship weekend continues tonight with the Dr. Pepper ACC Championship as Jonathan Dwyer and Georgia Tech take on C.J. Spiller and Clemson. Should be a good one. 8 Eastern on ESPN tonight. Winner goes to a BCS game, and that could impact what happens with Florida State. There's been talk of a West Virginia-Florida State Gator Bowl since Bobby Bowden coached at West Virginia before he took over the Seminoles. Here's Clark on 3rd and short, fighting for extra yardage. Ball came out, but he's ruled down, and he did not get the first down.
What a great job by Munoz, the senior from Miami, Florida, playing his last game for the Scarlet Knights. Big 3rd and short, sticking his nose up in there, getting a good read on the pulling guard. See the little step right there, shooting that gap, untouched because the front 4 and the front 5 are doing their job, leaving him free to come in and take down the big man.
Southridge High School in Miami.
They're going for it on 4th down and 2. It'll be Clark again. No way. Rutgers defense holds up. Boharnis and David Rowe there for Scarlet Knights.
This could be the spark that the offense for the Scarlet Knights need. The defense comes up, makes a big play, get real good field position.
Boy, I tell you, if you're Bill Stewart, you're saying, man, I just ran that play. It's going the other way on a little lead. If I had a little play action off of that, because they were all stacking the line, I don't think I could have popped one. But again, by Boharnis coming underneath the block, not giving 1-for-1. What I mean for that is take on a blocker, defeat him, but don't quit. Go get the tackle. And Bill Stewart said, man, I should have called the play action. You're right, Chris.
Yeah.
Again.
What a good
or not again.
Yeah.
Run play on 1st down, Martinick, and a flag down in the backfield right in the area of holding. Gain of 1. Keith Tandy made the tackle, but a penalty.
Holding. Offense. Number 19. 10-yard penalty.
Let's go to Reese in the studio.
All right, guys, Conference USA Championship game. The nation's highest scoring team, the Houston Cougars, on the move. Case Keenum, James Cleveland, he's over 100 yards receiving, his 2nd touchdown catch. Extra point failed, and East Carolina just intercepted a pass in the end zone. It's 13-7 on ESPN2.
All right, Reese, here it's 14-3, West Virginia leading. And Rutgers now with a 1st and 20. They're going to split Savage out and bring in Sanu as the quarterback. In the Wildcat, this has not really worked yet today. Sanu makes a good play there, though, getting out of an ankle tackle and gets to the 35-yard line, brought down by Nate Sowers. All right, Bob has now given me my card back so I can read the Affleck trivia question. All right, guys, 4 FBS teams have the opportunity to win 14 games. Which are the only 2 teams in history to win 14?
Okay.
Think about that one.
It would have to be one in a conference that has a championship game.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
You guys are thinking, huh? Deep in thought are the analysts as the pass is caught by Sanu and a good open field tackle by Keith Tandy. Coming off a career-high 10 tackles and an interception in the backyard brawl with Pitt. It'll bring up 3rd down.
Well, it had to be one of those years, right, where you're allowed 13 games. Wasn't there a year where you're allowed 13 games? And I believe you get an extra game if you play Hawaii. So we'll get it.
Well, we're just throwing all that out.
All I know is one of the teams was this decade. It happened this decade, early in the decade.
I know that one, I think, David.
Come pretty close to home.
Here's Savage on 3rd and 7, flushed out and sacked inside the 30-yard line. Zach Cooper got him and forces another punt.
Well, we talked about Rutgers getting an opportunity, and the West Virginia defense, which came in ranked 29th in the nation in scoring defense, just won't let anything get past the line of scrimmage. Just good play defensively.
And Haslam lost hand control on Cooper. Had a good initial stop on him, but Cooper hit him with a quick inside move on that. Just keep your hands inside. And Cooper, good job of finishing the play once he beats his blocker. Delagana
punting for the 50th time here in the first half. And And Sanders under it. Oh, boy. He gets tattooed at the 34 as we check in with Reese Davis again.
Game it will decide the Big East. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Panthers with a 14-10 lead. A little throwback special. Bill Stull, Jonathan Baldwin. Oh, look at the savvy move to create a little separation. Second touchdown catch, and the Panthers up 21-10 on ABC.
And guys, if Pittsburgh wins and knocks off Cincinnati, does that change things for Brian Kelly and where he might be next year?
Well, I think he's going to be at Notre Dame regardless if they win or lose.
All right.
It's just whether he gets there sooner rather than later.
Brown throws incomplete, intended for Austin. So you think even if Cincinnati wins, he's going to Notre Dame? Does that mean he coaches in the bowl game?
If Cincinnati wins,
I mean, doesn't that play a role in his decision?
if Cincinnati loses, he'd probably be in South Bend tomorrow night.
But I'm saying if they win.
If they win, then I think Notre Dame waits for him and lets Brian come when he wants to come.
I think it's up to the University of Cincinnati, and they're going to have to step up. If they want to keep Brian Kelly, they have to step up big time.
Rutgers defense just did that, taking down Devine.
Well, what they're doing, Dave, is their defensive linemen are not two-gapping. They're getting on the edge of the West Virginia offensive linemen.
Two-gapping? What do you mean by two-gapping?
Two-gapping, they're not hitting inside. They're getting penetration up the field. They're only working half a man, and there's nowhere to run. They're taking away all running lanes, especially on the outside.
No first downs yet for either team this quarter, and West Virginia's not going to get one here. Brown sacked at the 25. Alex Silvestro will harness back there as well for Rutgers.
The defense for Rutgers is coming alive the last two possessions. Here you see a little blitz. Bohannes, number 42, gets right in there. You know, Brown's got to be careful. When he runs and he's like, that ball is out away from his body, the quarterback, and then, you know, you're going to knock the ball loose. You got to protect the football.
Courtney right here. Keep your eye on him.
And McCourty blocked as the kick is short. Sanu fields it at the 36. Fair caught, so Rutgers will take it there. All right, the answer to the Affleck trivia question: we're the only two teams in history to win 14 games, and there's 4 teams this year that have the opportunity to do so. We mentioned one was earlier this decade. That would be Ohio State. Surprised it took Spielman more than 30 seconds to answer that one.
I had that. I just want to give it to you guys.
And BYU was the other team in 1996.
Hawaii.
Yeah. And Boise State can win 14 this year. Plays in the WAC, so plays Hawaii.
Yeah. And the SEC champion could win 14.
Texas could as well. Sanu. And they've done a pretty good job on that for West Virginia.
Well,
Josh Taylor was there for the Mountaineers, stringing the play out.
and this is where they got to have, you got to have your throwing game off of it. Now, if I'm a defensive guy by nature, so if I'm West Virginia, I'm thinking, man, Sanu. Guys, I'm telling you, watch him. He's going to throw the ball, and I promise you he's going to throw the ball before this game is over. At least that's what my instincts are telling me.
Well, they got to do something. They've had the ball. They've had 5 possessions. The first one was a field goal, and the next 4 they punted the football after 3 and out on every possession.
How about -6 rushing yards? As again the pass gets away from Savage, too high, intended for Sanu, who is in double coverage. Well, celebrating its 5th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds. For each field goal and extra point kick to date, Allstate has contributed more than $2.1 million in scholarship monies.
Well, Savage's pass attempt, 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10, Bob. That puts a little more pressure on him when you go to that wildcat formation and eliminate him from being a threat on throwing the ball on first down.
West Virginia sending 2 linebackers on a blitz here on 3rd down, and one of them's going to take down Savage. It's Reed Williams. There's a penalty flag down as well. They brought Williams and Thomas up the middle, and Williams brought down the quarterback.
In their loss to Syracuse a couple of weeks ago, Rutgers had 9 sacks, and a couple of them were the quarterback's fault, and most of them were because they were blitzing a lot.
That was against Syracuse. As let's see whether West Virginia declines it or not. No?
Chop block. Offense. Number 38. Penalty will be declined. Third down.
We'll see the chop block here from Martinick, which a player on West Virginia will be engaged. And Martinick comes in and cuts him.
Good call.
Now, I don't know if he was engaged, to be honest with you.
He wasn't.
Look at Blazik was trying to reach in, and his hand just caught
You think
the West Virginia defender. He wasn't blocking the player. He wasn't blocking it. Martinick comes in and does his job on a blitzer. He's going to take the guy's knees. That's what he's coached to do. And I think Blazik was just working his way with his man who was running a stunt. I mean, it's a good call, but it wasn't intentional.
So fourth down. While we have a moment, let's go to the studio and check in with Reese.
All right, guys, coming up on the Bud Light halftime report, we'll break down what is serving as the Big East championship game. Pittsburgh has been very physical. They are controlling play against Cincinnati right now. We'll break it down for you. Also, look ahead to the matchup between #1 and #2, Florida and Alabama, coming up in the SEC championship game. Conference USA title game has been a back-and-forth wild affair. Mark and Lou are here and ready to go on Championship Saturday, Dave.
All right, Reese, so why don't you guys get in here? Your thoughts on Florida, Alabama while we have a moment.
Well, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a defensive game, and I still like Tim Tebow. When it gets down to the tough fourth quarter, I just think he wills his players to go on out there and win one way or the other.
Delagano's punt is short, and again it isn't really helpful with the bounce inside the 40-yard line of the 37. It was better than the last one, which went straight out of bounds. And some of the BCS storylines, Cincinnati and Boise State seeking regular season perfection. Bearcats down 24-10 right now to Pitt. Florida, Alabama in the SEC championship. We'll get Chris's thoughts in a minute on that, what he thinks about that game. Also Texas, Nebraska for the Big 12 championship tonight.
What Lane Kiffin said, Alabama has good coaches and Florida has good players, so that gets a little sassy from him still going on.
Are you shocked by that comment? Brown dumping it off to Sanders over the middle. Gain of 7.
Well, I think they're both well-coached teams, and obviously they have good players. But to me, I like Alabama again, and I can't tell you why. I just like them in this game.
Brown finds 6'8" West Lions a first down catch. West Virginia has one timeout remaining. Clock will stop as they reset the ball.
What a luxury to have 6'8" on a 3rd and 5 on a slant.
Oh, yeah.
Just throw it up there and let him go get it.
And Rutgers called a timeout. I think they had 12 guys on the field because a couple of flags came in.
Yeah, Munoz was trying to get off the field.
But I think they called the timeout first. So
There is no foul for delay of game. Rutgers called second charge timeout. It's a 30-second timeout.
all right, so 1:47 remaining here in the half. What about the Big 12 championship tonight, which will be on our air? Does Nebraska have a shot with its defense? Can Ndamukong Suh make that much of a difference?
It's tough for a defensive tackle to have that much of an impact. I mean, he can make a difference, but he can't cover the pass. And Colt McCoy, and if Bo Pelini can dial something up, and Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator out at Nebraska, can score some type of points, then their defense is certainly enough to give them a shot at winning.
I think Bo Pelini can make it interesting and difficult for Texas for a while, but in the long haul, Texas has just got too much.
Wait, didn't you say that a defensive tackle once gave you a Pro Bowl year?
Yeah, but I'm a linebacker.
Also, isn't he going to help out the rest of the defense?
You're not going to win a Big 12 championship with one defensive tackle.
He loved those defensive linemen. Keep the blockers off of him.
Well, and Ndamukong Suh is 100 pounds lighter than Ted Washington, who played in front of you. As Brown tried to hit Lions over the middle, broken up by Devin McCourty. Bring up second down.
We were talking with an NFL executive up here in Rutgers about Devin McCourty. He's an outstanding corner. We were watching him work in pregame. He has outstanding feet, and he gets a really good jump on the football when it's in the air. No wasted steps. Right there, matching up one-on-one with Big West Lions down here at the bottom of your screen.
He's a leading tackler for Rutgers. As Brown going to throw at McCourty, and Lions had it and then lost it, and it's ruled incomplete. He did not complete the catch.
He doesn't panic, and he understands. You know, you watch, he does a good job. He's positioned. He knows he can run with lines, but look how his hands, he understands where that football is, and once that ball's in the air, if he sees the receiver catch it, he doesn't panic. He goes to his coaching points and attacks the arms and the hands of the wide receiver.
Did he have possession there, guys?
No.
He may have had possession, and then when he brought it down where McCourty could get at it, he knocked it out of bounds.
Looks like they're going to spend a little bit more time looking at this play. I don't know. He looked like he had possession, meaning his feet were down and he had control of the ball. And then McCourty came in and knocked it out.
Yeah.
Following play is under further review.
Let's take a look. I was just so in love with the technique that McCourty was doing.
Defensive guy.
I didn't even pay attention to the possession. Is that important?
Watch this. Let's see. Take a look. Ball. He's got the ball. 2 feet.
Got to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the ruling on the field, which is incomplete.
But look at the hand, just going up and attacking the arms and hands.
He had
got it to me.
Had possession with 1 foot in bounds, which is all you need in college.
I mean, he had both feet down in possession. And 3 feet in bounds before it came out.
And the difference is that'd be a first down for West Virginia.
Yep.
The 6'8" is such an advantage going back to Harold Carmichael, the Philadelphia Eagles, but at 6'8", West Lions. I mean, do both guys have possession? So is that possession is established? I know it goes to offense. It looks like he has possession and he yanks the ball out. Now, is that indisputable depending on what the call?
The ruling is confirmed on the field. The receiver never maintained possession of the ball while in bounds.
Well, they were pretty quick. A minute and 13 seconds, they feel. I mean, they said it confirmed. Sometimes they'll just say the ruling on the field stands when it's not confirmed, but they feel that video evidence actually confirmed that it was incomplete.
Now, it looked to all of us that he had possession, but there must have been some doubt, some doubt in the official's mind that was looking and has to make the decision as to whether or not he had. It wasn't indisputable video evidence.
I changed my mind. He didn't have possession. Good job, McCourty.
Play clock at 2. They get the play off, but Brown wishes they didn't. Sack back at the 40-yard line by Jonathan Freeney.
The last few series, the Scarlet Knights defense has been coming alive.
See, they're bringing blitzers, they're bringing safeties and linebackers, and what you have on the corner is Freeney beating Barclay. And watch Freeney on the get-off. Outstanding get-off. You see him get on his edge, and he throws that nice little dip that shoulder and throw that left uppercut and come in with the finish.
8.5 sacks.
All right, Grace, I'm not coming after you.
8.5 sacks for Freeney. He had 1 his first 2 years. He's a junior from Tampa.
Speed on that edge. I mean, that puts fear in an offensive lineman. Not fear, I'm afraid, but it just makes you so weary.
Charge timeout.
The homeboy over here getting a little excited. He's putting that arm over. I'm coming over near you, Dave.
I love to see that technique, and we saw McCourty use technique as a defensive back. The ball in the air, not panicking, and he attacks the hands of the wide receiver without panicking. Right there, you see Freeney coming off the edge like his namesake. He gets down low, he dips that shoulder, and you see him throw the uppercut. And it's very difficult for an offensive lineman to be able to do that.
All right, guys, Rutgers has 1 timeout, 54 seconds left. You got a true freshman quarterback in Tom Savage, who has struggled today. Rutgers offensively as a unit has struggled. Do you just take a knee or two and go into the locker room?
Depends on the field position, what you get here. And then secondly, sometimes in a 2-minute situation, things change. I mean, your offense hasn't done anything the first quarter, and then you get in a 2-minute offense, a hurry-up thing, and I've seen moving down the field and get 3 points or 7 points.
Well, you got McCourty that West Virginia has to account for. 3 blocks on the year.
Do you see the total yards, by the way? 2 for West Virginia this quarter, and minus 13 for Rutgers this quarter. For the half, Rutgers has 46 yards.
There's McCourty.
7 career block kicks for McCourty, 3 this year. High snap. They're setting up the return, though. Sanu inside his 20. Brought down at the 23-yard line. Kent Richardson leading the way. So Rutgers will have 43 seconds and a timeout to work with.
Here's what I do. You understand that West Virginia is going to probably start out in a little bit of a prevent defense. They're not going to be up in your face. You want to get your quarterback in a little bit of rhythm. You hit him with a couple 3-step drops. If he completes the first one, then you go into your hurry-up offense. And that's what I do, because they have the luxury. Usually teams, the defenses, will be a little bit soft in their coverage to start a drill with 43 seconds to go.
Or something like a screen, give an opportunity to one of your speed backs to get something.
Doesn't look like it here, though.
Now going in the I formation. Martinick will carry it, get hit in the backfield. He'll bring a couple tackles, though. And pushed out after he got the first down. Maybe this will change what Rutgers will do, as he got 12 yards.
Yeah, you have to go now. I mean, you have to do something.
They'll reset the ball and then wind the clock.
We'll see what Greg Schiano decides to do. Boy, I just think you go ahead and take a shot.
Run it again to Martinick.
What that tells me is Rutgers just wants to get in.
Tells the fans that too, right?
They just want to get in halftime. You have a freshman quarterback who has not played well the first half. They don't want to drop the ball or throw an interception that would make it worse than it is right now. Let's get in, talk about it, come back out, and go from there.
West Virginia's won 14 straight in the series, seeking its 9th win this season. Looking to finish the Big East 5-2. And perhaps go to the Gator Bowl, leading Rutgers 14-3 at halftime on a rainy Saturday in Piscataway. Let's go back to the cozy studios of ESPN. Reese in the Bud Light halftime report.
When you say my name, when you say my name, they gon' say I'm connected everywhere. I'm connected everywhere.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. The rain has turned to snow in Piscataway. West Virginia leading Rutgers 14-3 at halftime. And we welcome you back to Jimmy V Week on ESPN as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation for Cancer Research in tribute to Jim Valvano and his dream to defeat cancer. Well, how will the snow affect the second half of this game? Rutgers may have to start to run the ball, and they got 1 rushing yard in the first half.
Well, let me say this. I would not want to be a quarterback in these conditions. It is wet, it is cold, and it is windy, and that is the worst conditions for a quarterback to try and throw a football.
Well, then you see, okay, well, Rutgers has the luxury of going to their Wildcat with Mohamed Sanu, and how they can do that, and will that affect their ability to run the football, or would help them? And also, I still believe Sanu's going to throw a pass before the day's over.
I hope.
I've got to believe he's going to throw a pass.
I know it's in the game plan.
Yes, he's got to be.
And if you're losing, and they're only losing 14-3, it's not like they're losing 28-0. They're only down 11 points, but their offense hasn't looked good. But they could come out and light it up here in the second half and make a game of it.
And about their defense did a better job in the second quarter against West Virginia. The Mountaineers scored on their first 2 possessions.
Yeah. That was a defensive graphic if you ever saw one. Not much offense. In fact, the team scored on the first possession. Both teams scored was 7-3, and then on the third possession, West Virginia scored another touchdown, and that has been it. The rest of the way have been punts.
West Virginia has not kicked it deep, and again, they're going to kick it short. And this one will go out of bounds. So very good starting field position for Rutgers.
Talked to Bill Stewart about that, and he told us that his kickoff coverage is not very good, hasn't been very good. I said, what's the problem? Well, we don't kick it deep and we don't kick it high. So it's tough to be good on kickoff coverage if you don't do those 2 things.
Looked like it was touched by Eric LeGrand of Rutgers before it went out of bounds. That's what they're trying to sort out.
Kick out of bounds. Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. The spot where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
No, LeGrand did not touch it. Unless it hit a Rutgers player on the kick.
He says 40-yard line, and he says no, if it goes out past the 40-yard line, you take it where you get it.
Well, you get the 5-yard penalty, and it was short of the 40, so they tack on the 5 and then get it out of the 42. Well, Tom Savage struggled in the first half, 6 of 13 passing for 72 yards.
They have a short memory. Your quarterback come out and play well this time.
Handed off to Martinick on first down, and that's one of their better runs of the day, and it only got about 3 yards. Here's the kickoff again. Let's see if it hits a Rutgers player.
Looked like it may have hit his foot.
Which kicked it left because they're trying to squib kick it down the middle. So to me, it looked like it hit the foot of the Rutgers front lineman. Kicked the ball left and went out of bounds. Play on.
And Sanu in at quarterback. He's going to run it. And Sanu into the secondary. And brought down from behind at the 41. But an excellent play. Hogan and Glover downfield made the tackle. 13 yards for Sanu.
19. Corcoran gets a key block here. Grease. It's kind of just a little counter look. And you see there's one puller. There's two pullers. Corcoran comes in and takes care of J.T. Thomas. And Sanu using his ability. He's trying to throw the left jab there at the end.
Soraka, the offensive coordinator, comes out second half, finds out what West Virginia is doing defensively. What can we run against it? These are the best plays coming out in the second half right here.
That was their longest run of the day, 13 yards. Martinick on first down trying to splatter the pile, and he moves it all the way to the 36-yard line.
Dave, I always enjoyed going in at halftime, especially if we were struggling. If we were scoring a lot of points, heck, everything was working. But when you're struggling, you go in, you listen to your coaches. This is what they're doing. This is what we're going to do the second half. When you come out in the second half and you run those plays, and the first drive of the third quarter is the biggest, the most important, because if you've made adjustments and they work, your confidence is going back up.
Got 5 yards thanks to the hard running by Martinick. Two tight ends here. They'll keep it on the ground. Martinick finds him inside the 30 and brought down at the 29.
Well, you have to have the ability, if you want to be a solid running back, to make the 8th man in the box miss. Watch Robert Sands, number 2, come into your screen, and watch what Martinick does. Instead of trying to run him away, he throws a quick little move, and right there's the missed tackle of the on-block player for the West Virginia defense, because they know what Rutgers is doing. It's clear. Go in the locker room. Guys want to get tough and run the football down your throat. So West Virginia has adjusted, but you got to make tackles if you're an on-block football player, and Sands right there missed the open field tackle on Martinick.
This is a West Virginia defense that's given up a lot of points this year and a lot of yards. As Sanu from the quarterback position running the Wildcat gets stood up. Williams on the tackle.
We were talking to Schiano yesterday in his office, and we were asking him about this Wildcat that Sanu runs a lot. And they said, you know, with your New Jersey connections and with the Dolphins running it and with Bill Parcells and them running it down there, did you talk to anybody down there with the Dolphins about the Wildcat? And he said, no, it's fact. So we talked to Urban Meyer and the University of Florida. We went down there, and we're doing some of the stuff that they do.
We're going to do it here. In fact, there's 3 other guys in the backfield with Sanu. And here's what Chris said. He called it a pass into the end zone, broken up. Triple coverage down there was intended for Brown.
That's why you don't have your wide receivers throwing passes.
Yeah. And you can tell Brown is struggling to even run back to the Rutgers sideline. Keith Tandy was covering him and knocked the ball away.
Well, actually, let's see. He gets a good look and a good read. His mind's made up. Obviously, he's going to hit Brown on the post, and he does get behind the defense, but you can see at 5'8", Tim Brown's not going to win any jump balls back there against 3 defenders. And West Virginia, well coached, read that play perfectly and defended it perfectly.
Rutgers only won the 3rd down conversion in the first half. And Savage hit, and he gets out of there and unloads, and it's incomplete. Boy, Tandy picked it off. He would have scored. Incomplete. It's 4th down and 9.
There's a lot of good things there. Good pass rush on third down. You got to throw the football. And then Savage almost gets out of this. Good hard pass rush. He almost makes a play to continue the drive. And as you mentioned, Tandy almost picks it off.
That's why he's a DB. Because if you're that good of an athlete at West Virginia and you're that type of player, you're playing wide receiver. That's why he's playing DB.
Can't catch.
Here's Santee. It's a 45-yard field goal into the wind. And he's going to come up about 5 yards short. His long in his career is 50, so he's got the leg, but you can tell that got caught up in the wind. Rutgers, which has won 8 straight November and December, struggling down 11. A donation at jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V. 100% of your donation will go directly to cancer research. And Jim Valvano played college basketball at Rutgers. He's a 1967 graduate. Played with Bob Lloyd, All-American point guard in the backcourt. Running play by Devine, gets about 3 out near the 30-yard line. There's Jimmy V on the right. Bob Lloyd is a backcourt mate. Look at the ups that Jimmy V had there. He had over 1,100 career points, and Rutgers finished 3rd in the 1967 NIT.
One picture in my mind of him I'll never forget is him running out at NC State, a national championship game when they won.
Yep, looking for somebody to hug.
Yeah.
Jared Brown rolling out. Everybody covered. And it's incomplete.
That's a missed opportunity. And Jared Brown has a lot of confidence in his arm and the throw on the run. Right there, it's lazy. His feet drifted a little bit. I thought Grease, as a quarterback, he had time to set his feet. And when you throw that out, you want to throw it low to the outside away from the defender, which allows the receiver to make a play on the ball, but also keeps his feet on the ground to come inbounds when you catch the football.
Check the weather, Horse. It's cold, it's wet.
Yeah, he still can set his feet. He threw a fadeaway. Did a Jimmy V fadeaway.
Hey, we have to create. All you do is destroy.
Brown to throw on 3rd and 6. And that one was low also. Flag down. Pass intended for Sanders right at the first down marker. This has got holding written all over it.
Holding. Offense. Number 77. Penalty be declined. 4th down.
That's on Josh Jenkins, left guard.
We always talk about offensive adjustments. What a nice job ever since the 3rd series of the football game for Bob Fraser, the co-defensive coordinator, along with Greg Schiano, the play caller, to adjust and to slow down this athletic West Virginia offense.
And Ed Pinkham also is one of the co-defensive coordinators.
Bill Stewart in his 2nd year. He won the Fiesta Bowl as the interim coach when Rich Rodriguez left to go to Michigan. Now in his 2nd full season, they went 9-4 a year ago and beat North Carolina in the Meineke Car Care Bowl. West Virginia likely headed to the Gator Bowl regardless of the outcome of this game. And regardless of the Cincinnati Pitt outcome, depending on who you talk to, as that was a deep kick and fielded inside the 20. Fair caught at the 16 by Sanu. We'll see what Rutgers can do in offense. Down 11 when we come back.
ESPN's College Football, brought to you by GMC, we are professional grade, and Toshiba, leading innovation.
Oh, you got to go to Grease Trucks when you're in New Jersey. 2 campus favorites. You got the Fat Cat and the Fat Daryl. Chris had both at the same time in one meal. And I think Fat Cat was on the left there. That's with the 2 cheeseburgers, french fries, lettuce, tomato, onions on a sub roll. Fat Daryl, of course, Chris, is chicken fingers, mozzarella sticks, fries, lettuce, tomato, and marinara sauce. Which one was better?
Ledge would love both of them. I know that.
That's a different show.
Oh, okay.
Marnick on 1st down off the right side. And they'll get about 2 or 3 dragged down by Josh Taylor.
I would think if you're Rutgers and offensively, you have to get Savage involved. And you have to get him throwing the football a little bit. And the best way, in my opinion, to get a quarterback in rhythm is to let him throw on 1st down. Let him hit some 3-step drops.
A fake little flanker screen. Savage on the rollout and dumps it off incomplete. Let's check in with Reese.
In Pasadena.
All right, Reese, here it's 3rd down and 8. 5 minutes into the 3rd quarter, and Savage throws it right to a West Virginia defender. Sidney Glover, touchdown Mountaineers.
Touchdown West Virginia.
Second interception of the season for Glover. West Virginia leads the Big East with 16 picks as a team. 24 yards on the return by Glover. It's only the 5th thrown this year by Savage. And the first turnover of the game.
Yeah, he just didn't see the he didn't see Glover. He didn't see the defensive back. He was looking. He was staring down his receiver.
Bittenkurt for the point after. And it's 21-3 West Virginia. What do you think Greg Schiano's telling Savage right there, Bob?
I'm going to need you, big fella. Here's you're going to see right here. He's staring down the receiver, and Sidney Glover played the vertical route at first. He kind of baited him. He saw his eyes, and he jumped the underneath route, and he was able to finish the play. But Sidney Glover did a good job of coming late off the coverage and breaking on the football.
The key to the whole thing, and here's Glover, is he's in a zone coverage. He's not man-to-man coverage. The slot guy right there that he jams, he's not covering him. Savage sees that jam, and he throws to the outside guy, and Glover just slides off to his zone responsibility and just takes it off, picks it off.
And he's throwing a true freshman, Mark Harrison, who I think drifted inside on that route. If you're going to run a hitch, you want to keep it outside for that exact reason, away from the guy that's coming late to the flat. And he threw the ball inside. It was doomed to start. True freshman to true freshman, you understand that. I mean, that's going to happen. You're going to drift a little on your routes. You're going to be late on a throw.
Yeah.
Our Saturday menu is brought to you by Applebee's on ABC at 3:30. USC and Arizona in a good Pac-10 game at 8 o'clock tonight on ABC. It's the Big 12 championship, ACC championship over on ESPN. Can Nebraska knock off Texas? And if that happens, will it be TCU, or will we have Cincinnati, for that matter, if they come back to beat Pitt, against the Florida-Alabama winner, or will we have a rematch, Florida-Alabama?
Give a little credit to TCU. They've had a great year. I mean, he's been down there and played well.
Well, it's got to be TCU. I mean, they play people.
Yeah.
And they're solid offense, defense.
And don't know if that was a whiff by Bittencourt or if the ball just blew off the tee as he went to kick it.
That ball fell off the tee, and he says, "I'm not kicking this." He does this. He does this in practice, and does the same thing. He doesn't kick. If it blows off, I'm not kicking it if it's falling off the tee.
I'll tell you, he does a good job of keeping his composure. That's kind of like stopping your drive on a downswing.
Yeah.
When a driver in golf. Because he could have kicked it and swung his leg and missed everything and fell down and made the bloopers. Yeah, Snoopy pulling the ball away. Or Lucy or whoever did that.
I don't think Snoopy did that. Here's LaFedge on the return. Big return. The kicker to beat. He got him. LaFedge being chased. They won't catch him. Touchdown, Rutgers.
Why do you kick it deep?
Well, that's the spark that Rutgers needed, is somebody on special teams or defense to make a play.
Well, Bill Stewart was telling us all week, we're not very good at kickoff coverage. And don't give them a chance to return it, because this is what happens. Do what you've done all game. Squib it down there and let the big defensive lineman field it at the 30 when you give LaFedge a shot. And they execute. Man, they make a play. You let him right back in it. And that, to me, that's on Coach Stewart. He had to know better than kick that deep, because he was the one telling us how bad his kickoff coverage was. It's on the players for not executing, obviously.
Rutgers going for 2 is a little early for this here, guys.
I think you make it a 10-point game and you're struggling getting points, so you get all the points while you have an opportunity to get points, in my opinion, how the game is going.
91-yard kick return for a score. So much for the old adage, don't go for 2 unless it's the 4th quarter, but they get it on the quarterback sneak by Savage.
They had a good feeling coming into the ball game that was going to be there. 2-point play inside the 5-yard line. You'll spread them from sideline to sideline, go empty in the backfield, and just run a quarterback draw.
It's good patience right here by Savage of setting it up just enough to get those defensive linemen upfield. You get Art Frost on Williams. Reed Williams, the middle linebacker, just an easy cut for a 2-yard run and 2 points.
Well, you can join Reese Davis, Mark May, Lou Holtz, and Jesse Palmer tomorrow night for the Bowl Selection Special, powered by Chevy Silverado on ESPN at 8 Eastern. Players and coaches from around the country will join us with inside perspective as well. Find out who is going where and playing against whom. And the winner of that Pittsburgh East and Cincinnati game will go to the BCS game. And what we're being told is West Virginia going to go to the Gator Bowl, regardless of the outcome of that game. And the Meineke Car Care Bowl then could have Cincinnati or Pittsburgh if Pitt loses. Brute Sun Bowl and Rutgers in the mix. And there's no rule in the Big East. They can take anybody they want.
You just got out there just throwing out a bunch of names.
No, I just sources telling me West Virginia's going to the Gator Bowl. So regardless of the outcome of the games. Short kickoff taken at the 30-yard line. Was checking with Reese.
Conference USA Championship game on ESPN2. Now coming out to start the second half. Oh, look at this. I think we're going to win. No, I beg to differ. I would say that we are going to win. Either that or somebody said something about somebody's mama. East Carolina then answered Patrick Pinckney, Dwayne Harris, and the Pirates have the lead 21-19 early in the third.
Skip Holtz and company getting it done. Well, so far, after no offense in the first half, still no offense in the second half, but we do have 2 touchdowns, one by the West Virginia defense and now by Rutgers special teams. Here's Noel Devine, and they bottle him up. He gets maybe 2. Tomaso Munoz making the play, senior from Miami, Florida.
And that kickoff return, Dave, by Rutgers was the 7th non-offensive touchdown of the year for them. They've had 4 on defense and 3 on kick returns. So they've kind of helped their offense all season long.
Goes their unbalanced look. They bring the big tackle over.
And Devine able to get away from one defender. Actually get positive yardage. A couple yards downfield. He's brought down by Silvestro and Boharnis.
Looked like George Johnson had a shot for a TFL. Tackle for loss in the backfield. But the shifty Noel Devine gave him a leg and took it away. Nothing was there. This is where Jarrett Brown, your 5th-year senior, your leader, needs to make a play.
West Virginia just 1 of 8 on 3rd down. And Brown completes it to Lyons. And no shot. Down at the 41-yard line, about 4 yards short of the first down. Billy Anderson on the coverage. And West Virginia will punt the ball.
Talk about a hands-on coach. Right there.
He doesn't call the defenses anymore. He gave his play calling duties up to Frazier this year. Frazier and Ed Pinkham, the co-defensive coordinators.
You know, a lot of times when we come in, we talk to the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, and the head coach. Not here. At Rutgers, you talk to the boss. You talk to the big boss, Greg Schiano, and that's the only guy you talk to. He's got control.
Keselowski, with the wind behind him, hammers that one. And it'll go out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Greg Schiano trying to get his 9th win of this season. Got his team back within 10. Rain, then snow, then rain again. We'll likely have more snow here in Piscataway as the temperature, which was at 41, dropped below freezing. Now back up 36. And Rutgers starting to heat up, though, within 10. Backed up, though, to its 11, 1st and 10. Marknick hit from behind and gets just past the line of scrimmage. It was J.T. Thomas that was in the backfield and slowed him up. And this is really the second full game, I guess you could say 3rd straight game where they've had a full defense, although even against Cincinnati, they weren't completely healthy. But you can see how good this defense is when they've got all their guys out there.
Yeah. And 9 of these starters will be back next year off this defense. In fact, they'll have 17 starters. I think 8 guys come back on offense and 9 on defense. So they'll have to replace the quarterback.
Yeah.
But other than that, West Virginia should be good.
They've got a true freshman, Geno Smith. Also, Pat White's brother is the 3rd-string quarterback, Colby White. Good play there. by Glover, dragging down DeAntoine Williams. Tom Savage has struggled throughout the game. Missed throw there, trying to hit his tight end Shamar Graves, then a tip pass. Here he trips over the 39-yard line, and then the pick six.
Well, that's a young freshman, but the thing that Greg Schiano loves about Tom Savage is his temperament. He never gets high, never gets too low, which is unusual for an 18 or 19-year-old kid not to panic and just trust what you do, trust your training, and just play football. And that's a nice quality to have.
And you're going to have days like this.
Greg Schiano said Savage is special. He thinks he's going to be a great player. Here, he's going to get sacked back at the 6-yard line by Goulbourne. Everybody covered downfield. And Rutgers will have to punt out of its end zone.
It's at the 4th or 5th sack of Savage today. But every time you talk to Schiano, he always has a smile on his face when you mention Tom Savage. And let me say this about this, guys. 2 years from now, when you come back here and we do a Tom Savage, a Rutgers game, he's going to be hot stuff. They're in very good shape offensively, quarterback around here for the next 3 years.
Well, if you guys love punting, this game is for you, as you saw the punt yard so far. As Sanders waits for it at midfield. Waits and trying to bounce it to the outside. Got a huge block down the sideline at the 40 and out of bounds at the 33. No flag down.
It's like Ian Smith, number 24, is going to come up and get the block that you need, and very smart by getting his head in front and on the side of the defender from Rutgers, number 20, Green. Look at that, just smart, getting his way, and Jock Sanders showing patience to let that block set up and a burst down the sideline. That's a good call by the officials.
Yeah, good.
Outstanding.
Yeah. And very good field position for West Virginia inside the 35. Four sacks now, by the way, for West Virginia against Savage. Here's play action on first down. Little wheel route out of the backfield. And it was Devine who was the intended receiver. Munoz covering, incomplete. And
Coach Stewart. I guess that's good. Is that good face mask or bad face mask? Now give him a hug. Yeah, there you go. That's good. Coach Stewart can get 15 for that. I mean, that was blatant face mask. Personal foul.
And no more incidental face masks in football. As Brown fumbles it, and Munoz hops on it for Rutgers.
I mentioned earlier in the game, he carries that ball out away from his body, and nobody even touched him. It just slipped out of his hand.
Looked like he hurt his hand or thumb a little bit also. He was grabbing it on the ground, but they have a play. They have a play set up. It's the quarterback draw, the same one used with Clark as your lead blocker. And look at that. Clark has to run to get the people. They're 5 yards away, and you're right, Grease.
He runs with his arms out away from his body, and you should tuck that elbow in next to your side and hold the football against your body.
It's a little Adrian Peterson running. You notice when Adrian has trouble dropping the ball and putting it on the deck, it's the same thing. He kind of cradles that ball within the forearm and gets loose and shows air. You got to get that ball high and tight, protect it. It's like a little baby, little newborn. Protect that sucker.
Your Vikings, huh?
Oh, yeah.
And here's a little trickery. Savage, after the pitch, going to throw it deep downfield into double coverage. And incomplete. Should have been picked off by Brandon Hogan. That looked like a punt.
Ex-wide receiver, thus the name X for Brandon Hogan.
Well, they had two West Virginia defensive backs back there playing him, and they had pretty good coverage. Go ahead and take a shot at it downfield.
I like the call. I think it's an aggressive call.
I do too. I like it.
The only reason, just so people know out there why I said Chris's Vikings, is Chris's brother Rick Spielman, the GM of the Minnesota Vikings, are off to a 10-1 start.
Yeah, they played good.
Chris played for Detroit in the same division.
Yep.
So he used to hate the Vikings, and now Chris is saying, oh, our Vikings and we and all this other stuff.
Well, he's finally started taking my advice up there.
Marnick hit in the backfield, flag down. On Marnick back at the 30.
On personnel, on college football personnel, you give him the inside stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see, draft Adrian Peterson, draft Percy Harvin.
There you go.
Real tough.
Personal foul. Defense. Number 12. Hands in the face. 15-yard penalty.
Sowers.
First down.
Nate Sowers, the guilty man.
He's coming over to have a talk with Coach Stewart.
I don't think he's coming over. He's trying to get away from it.
Stay at those numbers. You'll be all right.
That's why Coach Stewart never has a voice left at the end of the game right there. But a wonderful guy. There's not a nicer man in college football than Bill Stewart.
And a good football coach. Outstanding coach.
So 1st and 10 for Rutgers. Near midfield, down 11 points. 4.5 to play. Play action for Savage, looking downfield, and he's got Sanu, who makes a great catch inside the 35. Hogan on the coverage, first down.
That's you talk about the demeanor. When you have the demeanor and you're cool and you're calm, you can make this type of throw, Grace.
Well, confidence. It's been a while since he hit a big play like this. And you got to have confidence in yourself. It's been 2 quarters before good things have happened for Tom Savage. He just threw a pick 6 the other way. And now you finally get a help from your defense to get a turnover moving down the field.
Sanu, a true freshman, came into the game with 41 catches. He's going to be a good one like Savage as Martnick finds a hole. Rutgers running downfield this half as opposed to the first half, a gain of 5 or 6. Tonight, the final piece of the championship puzzle will be in place as Heisman candidate Colt McCoy and Texas take on a guy I guess you could say is also a Heisman candidate, Ndamukong Suh, for how good he's been for Nebraska. The Dr. Pepper Big 12 championship game on ABC tonight, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Well, Desmond Wynn, who came in for Howard Barbieri at right guard, is now shaken up. Caleb Rutch would be the next man in at that right guard spot. Or Desmond Stapleton, whose brother Darnell plays in the NFL with the Steelers, also could come in and play that position or play tackle.
Did I hear you say that this Nebraska defensive lineman Suh might be a Heisman candidate?
To me, let's talk NFL for a second. If I have the #1 pick in the draft, that's the guy I'm taking. I think he's the best player in college football overall. Ndamukong Suh at Nebraska.
Did Sam Bradford say he was going to go play on the PGA, or
he's not going to be the #1 pick? You think he's going to come off that?
It depends on who drafts. Who's drafting first?
Well, Mel Kiper's last draft had Jimmy Clausen ahead of Sam Bradford.
Mel Kiper had me going in the 5th round.
you're
still bitter.
I'm still bitter. And I love Mel.
It finally came out, you know.
And I love Mel.
It finally came out.
If you need a quarterback, Sam Bradford's your guy, by the way.
There's Sanu at quarterback, and he splits a couple defenders and gets to the 20-yard line. Another Rutgers first down.
They got it going now. Now, if I'm Greg Schiano, what I'm doing is I'm going to run a little bit of tempo here because the Mountaineer defense, they're kind of looking around at each other. What's going on? What do we do? We got to stop them. What are you doing? And Schiano's got the tempo going. They're going no huddle. And what they're doing is they're taking the fight right to West Virginia. And West Virginia is getting punched, and they're throwing 0 counter punches back.
Rutgers has lost 14 straight games to West Virginia. Greg Schiano's 0-8 against him. Martnick bouncing off tacklers, gets 9. They had 1 rushing yard as a team that entire first half, and now they're starting to get it going.
Take a look at that offensive line on the left side. The big guy, Anthony Davis. 61 is Blazik. Good hard running inside. That's what you need to get some confidence on offense. You got to have some kind of a running game. You can't rely on your freshman quarterback to do it all. I mean, you got to have some kind of run game.
And here's Sanu out in the flat, and he'll reach the first down marker before J.T. Thomas greets him there. And all depends on the spot here whether he got the first down. Looks like, yep, first down. First and goal now for Rutgers.
And what Rutgers has done, a lot of 2-back offense. Incorporating the fullback is doing a good job of lead blocking. And you got to remember that a lot of teams in college football don't see the I formation very often. And so when somebody's pounding it at you, you're not used to defending it, and you're not used to the blocking angles. And you think about, well, what they saw last week against Pittsburgh, which should help them. But right now, Rutgers' offensive line has been energized.
Savage is split out to the bottom of your screen with Sanu and a quarterback. He'll run the other way, and he finds a hole, and he gets to about the 5-yard line. He runs hard. Hogan made the stop. You talked about it earlier, Chris, ineligible his senior year of high school because he turned 19 years of age before the semester started. True freshman.
Yeah, what are these guys going to be like in 2 years? Savage and Sanu, right there, both true freshmen.
You got Boharness on defense and linebacker, another true freshman.
They had the best recruiting class ever here at Rutgers this past year.
Here's Martnick, and good job by West Virginia's defense. Miller getting off a block, and if he didn't take him down, Sidney Glover, the safety, was there. Loss of 5.
Yeah, I don't like that call. It was too slow in the backfield, too slow developing. This is an attacking defense.
Watch Julian Miller here, and I always talk about this, is never give 1 for 1. What I mean by that, you take on blockers, you defeat the blocker, you create separation, and you make a play. His job right there was to make the ball bounce, which he did, but outstanding hustle, and he comes to make a play. That's how you play that defensive end position. Never give 1 for 1.
A total of 2 third-down conversions in the game, and it's going to stay that way as that pass was off the mark intended for Sanu. Each team has 1 third-down conversion in this game, and now it's 4th and goal, and Greg Schiano's going to have to send on the field goal team.
Yeah,
here.
it looked like Hogan there may have been some contact right there. The ball's in the air. No, that is.
Was it catchable?
That's pass interference. Well, if he hadn't held on to him, he would have been back in the end zone where the ball was coming.
Now San Santee missed a 45-yarder, was short by about 5 yards, but this is a short kick into the wind, and the wind has subsided. It's a 27-yarder from straight on. And he buries this one, and it's a 7-point game here late in the third. Check in with Reese Davis now in the studio.
And here come the Bearcats. Tony Pike had been miserable. 9 of 26, 90 yards, 2 interceptions. Brian Kelly had just ripped him on the previous series. Looked as if he might even bench him. Good move to stick with him. He finds Marty Gilliard, his 2nd long touchdown of the day. He returned to kickoff as well. 31-24, and Cincinnati's getting the ball back right now on a punt.
I tell you what, that Marty Gilliard would be going up my draft board if I was a pro scout.
Well, absolutely. And you think what he's done today, what he did last week with 3 touchdowns when we had him. I mean, he's kind of a poor man's Percy Harvin. He's that same type of player.
Yeah.
Just a playmaker. And I don't mean poor man. Percy Harvin's one of those special guys. And Marty Gilliard's just a notch below a Percy Harvin. Now, if he runs 4.4 at the combine, he's a first-rounder. If he runs mid-4.5s, he's a second-rounder.
How many guys do you ever see catch him when he catches a ball like that?
I don't see many catch him.
He runs away from everybody. He plays wide receiver, and he's a great kickoff return guy.
Great story, too. Remember, he was ineligible there earlier in his tenure at Cincinnati. Ended up being homeless as he was trying to work and pay his way to be able to go to school. As Tavon Austin on the kick return for West Virginia is smoked at the 22-yard line. West Virginia coming off a turnover, a fumble by Jared Brown. Got his hand hit as Munoz fell on it. We'll see if that affects him throwing the football now.
Yeah, he reached his arm out. His hand was fallen on by the defensive lineman.
You see he's kind of moving them fingers around. I don't know if that's his normal behavior, but anytime I see a quarterback on the sidelines, obviously he's aware of would that affect him taking any snaps from under center.
Here's Devine. Out to the 27-yard line. Gain of 4 before Eric LeGrand makes the tackle on what will be the final play of the third quarter. Well, it looked like West Virginia, after that interception return for a touchdown, was going to run away with this thing, but Rutgers back within 7 as we go to the fourth quarter in Piscataway.
Follow the drive to the national championship on ESPN on College Football Final. You'll see all the big plays, the shocking upsets, and the great escapes that happen every week on the drive to the national championship. Saturdays at midnight on ESPN.
Fourth quarter at Rutgers Stadium, where West Virginia seeks its 15th straight win over the Scarlet Knights. Greg Schiano 0-8 in his 9 years at Rutgers. Done a great job at this school, but has not been able to beat West Virginia. Mountaineers have a second down and long, and Devine, who can go long, breaks a tackle. He's got the speed to take it the distance, but McCourty able to catch up to him at the 42-yard line.
What do we talk about in the pregame, guys? You stop him, you stop him, you stop him, then you get this right here. Watch a little burst. There's the vision. Good block up front by Clark, making people miss. And if he wasn't slowed down, McCourty wouldn't have got him behind, but McCourty can run now.
This is
outstanding defensive play.
Chris, this is the same thing we saw him do last week against Pittsburgh when he was backed up inside the 10-yard line.
Devine had 38 yards before that play, and that was a 32-yard run as Brown is able to pick up 11 to the 31-yard line. D'Imperio made the tackle downfield as West Virginia is moving it now. Well, Devine last week, Pittsburgh did a decent job against them, but he had that huge run, that 88-yard touchdown run. Otherwise, they shut him down.
The difference there was that against Pittsburgh, nobody touched him. Here, he got slowed up a little bit. McCourty was able to run him down from behind.
Devine over 1,200, make that 1,300 yards rushing now on the season.
Lineman shifts over, Barkley to the right side, imbalance to the right.
And nowhere to go. And Devine lost a couple, back under 1,300 yards now for the season. To get the latest on the teams and players you care about the most, log on to ESPNChicago.com, ESPNBoston.com, and ESPNDallas.com. Will Tony Romo and the Cowboys collapse again in December? They've got the lead in their division. Big one with the Giants this weekend.
Well, what happened to the Giants, huh?
They're struggling after that great start. 2nd and 12 for the Mountaineers. And looks like a broken play. And Brown gets out of there. David Rowe bumps him out at the 35-yard line.
Well, that'll drive you crazy. Not only because of the broken play, but where it happens. I mean, you're in good field position here, and every yard counts because you're talking about kicking a field goal into the wind. And you don't want to give any yards away, even if Brown would have tucked it up inside right there and got it back to the line of scrimmage.
West Virginia with only one third-down conversion the entire game. And this is a 3rd and 13.
It's probably his 4-down situation. It's too far to kick a field goal.
Brown gonna try to hit Devine, and it went through his hands. He had some green in front of him.
Especially for a guy as shifty as Noel Devine.
I think Stewart knew it too.
Right here, they did a good job of, they put Devine to the trip side, and they had a bunch which all guys stacked together, and they created a little bit of a confusion as far as the Rutgers zone goes, and he did have room to work with, although he had Billy Anderson in open field. I don't know, I kind of would maybe put my money on Noel on Billy in open field. Right there, the situation that Bill Stewart wanted. Thus, you saw the grimace on Bill Stewart's face. And I like the punt, by the way, Dave. I know you're reading my mind.
You got
instead of the long field goal try. And this one will take a West Virginia hop inside the 15. So Kozlowski does his job as Rutgers will have to start this possession at its 10-yard line. See how the true freshman Tom Savage handles this possession with his team needing a touchdown to tie the game. West Virginia on top of Rutgers 21-14 early 4th, and the Scarlet Knights start this drive on their 10-yard line. They'll start with Mohamed Sanu at the quarterback position in that wildcat formation, and he'll take it ahead to the 14 for about 3 yards. You can help us beat cancer. The V Foundation will proudly award 100% of your donation directly to fund cancer research. Log on to jimmyv.org or call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V to donate. Jimmy V week, and you got the women's games on Monday night, men's games at Madison Square Garden on Tuesday night for the Jimmy V Classic. Pitt and Georgetown, Indiana and Butler are the 4 teams. Second down and 6. Savage to throw. Trying to hit Sanu, and the pass a little bit low. 3rd and 6.
Savage is just a little bit off. You know, he didn't come in early. He didn't come to spring practice. He only got here in the summer. In fact, he came over. He's from Philadelphia area, and he drove over for a bunch of the practices. In fact, he made about 14 of the 15 practices and just stood on the sideline and watched as the Rutgers went through their offensive practices in the spring.
Scarlet Knights just 1 of 12 on 3rd down. This is manageable for Savage here. 3rd and 6. And he's got time to throw, but he put it behind Tim Brown, who was covered by a linebacker, Reed Williams. It's 4th down.
4th down and 6.
That ball looks like it could have been caught. Threw it a little bit behind Brown. Just a little bit off.
You know, Tim Brown, the senior, has been a playmaker all year. A little bit frustrated. He's trying. He's playing with that bad ankle. The other thing what you need to do right here is get some type of field position from West Virginia, then capitalize on it because of the punt. It's going to be into the wind a little bit.
Delegana to punt. And this is a good boot. Sanders all the way back at his 30. Gets a block, and he is finally brought down just shy of the 40-yard line. Oh, we mentioned earlier in the game that Jarrett Brown filled in for an injured Pat White in 2006 when both teams are ranked in the top 15. Brown with a 40-yard touchdown run this game. He also had a 22-yard touchdown pass. West Virginia had to go for 2 and made it. Mountaineers were up 8. And then Rutgers falling short, could not get the 2-point conversion, losing in the 3rd overtime. That outstanding game 3 years ago. Bill Stewart was an assistant at West Virginia. Rich Rodriguez, the head coach at that time. Mountaineer football is Clark. Powers forward to the 47 for about 7. Munoz made the tackle. You know, it's interesting when you look at former backfields for these two schools and where they are now. You got Steve Slayton with the Texans, Owen Schmidt, and Pat White, and then Mike Teal, who's the number 3 quarterback in Seattle with Brian Leonard, who used to be with the Rams, and Ray Rice having a great year for the Ravens.
And that's the backfield. So you got Kenny Britt, who was here last year, that's tearing them up in the league.
Got the game-winning touchdown pass from Vince Young last week in the Titans game. 2nd and 2, and Clark with a huge hole. He nosedives to the 29-yard line.
Well, it's clear what Bill Stewart decided to do, and Jeff Teal. We're going to go big. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to run the football, and we're going to pound it, and we're going to do it with Ryan Clark. Noel Devine, yes, he's a nice little mix, but right here, let's get powerful and see what we can do. And Ryan Clark has been coming along for a freshman. He's an outstanding player, not only as a runner, but he's been a very good lead blocker.
Had a first down on that game-winning drive against Pittsburgh before the field goal by Bittencourt last week in the backyard brawl. Here's Devine trying to get to the outside, and he does. Boy, most guys would have got taken down in the backfield, but Devine got back to the line of scrimmage.
You see the difference right there in Devine, the way he runs, a little scat back, as the play before where the Clark is more of a power back, and he runs more between the tackles. Devine likes to jump it outside.
You guys think we'll see Devine and other guys of his stature in the NFL? We showed you Ray Rice earlier, who's in the league. He's bigger, thicker, but about the same height.
I think there's a bunch of them in the league right now. Jones, Drew is in the league. There's some other guys that at that size, I think there's a definite place.
Again, Rice and Jones Drew a little bit bigger lower body than Devine as Clark takes it inside the 25 to the 24. Here's the 88-yard touchdown run last week against Pitt.
See right there, the difference is Pitt didn't have anybody with the speed to catch him, plus nobody really slowed him up at the line of scrimmage, where McCourty had the benefit of somebody slowing Noel Devine up. McCourty, with his great speed, chased him down from behind.
Well, the Rod Stevens-Howling, who returned a kickoff for a touchdown, the NFC Special Teams Player of the Week, is about Devine's size.
Expose San Diego Chargers tearing it up.
Here's the bigger Clark, and a big hit at the 24 by Zaire Kitchen, sticking his nose in there.
A nice job from the safety coming up. Get a little linebacker action, and they know what West Virginia is trying to do. You got the big fella Clark in there. They figure, like we figure, you're going to try to pound it. And watch Kitchen. Say, I'll do the cooking in this kitchen. Bam! Outstanding.
Kitchen playing on senior day, fought through several knee injuries. Makes a good play there to force a 41-yard field goal attempt by Bittenkurt. This is his first attempt of the game. Kicked the game winner against Pitt last week. And he nails it. 41-yard field goal is good, and West Virginia leads by 10 midway through the fourth quarter. Bittenkurt has missed just once all year. He's a freshman. He's now 14 of 15 on field goals for West Virginia.
ESPN's College Football is presented by Cars.com, where confidence comes standard, and in part by Aflac. We've got you under our wing.
Welcome back to the birthplace of college football. Rutgers and Princeton met on November 6th, 1869. We can imagine the day was a lot like this.
Yeah.
Cold, a little rain, a little snow. Unfortunately, Christopher Bob, we used up all of our jokes during the production meeting about that game.
Well, I know that little known fact that Coach Holtz was actually a GA for Rutgers at that time.
No way.
Yeah.
West Virginia leading by 10. Josh Leiter will kick it away from the 30. Hammers it into the ground. The last time they kicked it deep, it was returned for a touchdown. In fact, the only time they kicked it deep. Good coverage there by West Virginia as Rutgers picked that up at the last second ahead of the 37-yard line as we check in with Reese in the studio.
8:36, I heard that, but luckily for you, Coach didn't. Here's East Carolina and Houston in a Conference USA championship game. Case Keenum picked off by Van Eskridge in the last two Conference USA title games. East Carolina scores 10 turnovers, 3 today, 7 against Tulsa last year. Dominic Lindsay next play, touchdown. The Pirates are up 31-19 despite nearly 400 yards passing from Keenum.
Wow, East Carolina, 12-point lead. Here, West Virginia with a 10-point lead. Rutgers back to work on offense. And Savage going to Sanu. Defender got beat. And Sanu's got a touchdown. "62-yard touchdown pass to Sanu by Tom Savage. Glover got beat."
Boy, I'll tell you, it starts with protection. You only rush 3 and you're playing zone defense. You better have one thing in your mind. Deep as the deepest.
True freshman to true freshman. You got to hand it. They keep coming back. It's been a tough day for both of them.
Point after in the driving snow is good. Rutgers back within 3. Oh, yeah, the kickoff return for a touchdown after the interception by Glover, who returned it. And now one play after West Virginia's field goal. Savage with his 12th touchdown pass of the year.
Only a 3-man rush. Got lots of time. Glover over the top. Normally a safety. Supposed to be deeper than the deepest. And Sanu just runs right by him. That's some learning experience right there. So it's been a tough day. Most all day it's been tough. The weather's been tough. West Virginia's been tough on him. He's been sacked 4 or 5 times. Completion percentage is down. He's been dropped balls. It's not over until it's over. That's a big play by a freshman.
And guys, how about one of the guys that was talking to Savage, congratulating him and talking to him after that play, Dominic Natale, who is from New Jersey, but he went to Michigan State, then he transferred here. He's had some injury problems. He started the year at quarterback, threw 3 picks in that first game and got benched in favor of the true freshman. Greg Schiano says he's a great kid, and he's been terrific as a teammate.
He waited his turn behind Teal the last couple of years, finally gets his chance this year, and then the true freshman comes in and just takes over.
Delagano to kick it to Austin or Rogers. It'll be Austin who has a kick return for a touchdown this season. Across the 30 and stumbles to the 32. Khalil Glaude tripped him up. Tonight, it's Colt McCoy in Texas against Ndamukong Suh and Nebraska for the Dr. Pepper Big 12 Championship game on ABC, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. And both of you think Texas is going to win, right?
But who's going to be number one at the end of the year?
I think Texas is going to go ahead and take care of Nebraska tonight, although I do think it'll be a fight because I know that my ex-teammate at Ohio State, Bo Pelini, will have the Huskers ready to go. It's going big here with Clark in the backfield. Try to pound it home.
And Clark bounces off one tackler and then dropped at the 38-yard line by Munoz.
A couple things. I love the adjustment by Bill Stewart and Jeff Mullen, his offensive coordinator, about going big to change it up. In the play call on the last touchdown from Rutgers, everything's been set up, run, short pass. They go over top. They caught West Virginia sleeping. And a big play. Outstanding coaching on both sidelines.
Devine in the backfield now on 2nd 3. And a fullback shifts into that front of that eye. And it'll be Clark getting it straight ahead. And he'll come up a yard short as Vallone holds the point there. 5 tackles for Scott Vallone, a freshman defensive tackle. He's also got a couple for a loss today.
That's the youth of Rutgers, and why Greg Schiano's so excited about the future of his program. Not only the youth on offense that contributes, big contributors, but the youth on defense.
Bob, just take your eyes off the monitor. Don't look at that stat there about the third down conversions. That probably sickens you to see 2 for 24 combined.
Well, coming in, the Mountaineers led the conference in third down conversions.
3rd and 1. And Clark did not get it. Munoz in there. Kitchen, the safety, was in there.
Well, I love Kitchen in the game that he's played today. He comes up and becomes the 8th man in the box, lines up at a linebacker, and has made a number of plays from that linebacker position. And it's all about penetration, boys. You see them. They'll beat West Virginia to the punch. When you see guys shooting in there,
you had red shirts
coming in there.
You saw some red shirts in between all of the white shirts. That's what Chris means by penetration and getting across the line of scrimmage.
It's 4th down and 1. Greg Schiano told us in our meetings that he thinks Bill Stewart's got a fake punt in place. Not here. Play clock at 0. I don't know that it reset though. Delay a game.
Play a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Now Bill Stewart is not arguing it, so it must have reset. But it did take a while for them to reset the football, so maybe the clock started before that ball was actually placed.
They shouldn't be that way. I mean, if they did take a long time to place the ball, you don't start the 25-second clock until the ball is placed, ready for play.
And Rutgers came close to blocking that one. George Johnson almost got it. Sanu with the fair catch at the 29. Rutgers ball down 3. 6:11 to go in the 4th quarter. Rutgers football down 3 here in the snow in Piscataway on Senior Day. The winner of this game will get its 9th victory. Both teams going bowling. West Virginia likely to the Gator Bowl. Rutgers not sure where it will end up. Scarlet Knights football inside their 30. And Savage will give it to Martinick. Knocked down after a gain of 3 at the 32 by Sands. And here's Reese.
All right, Dave, get you up today. We got wild back and forth games going everywhere. Big East. Here's Dion Lewis again. Lewis is closing in on the Pittsburgh record for most carries in a game. Ironhead Hayward carried it 42 times against Holtz and Notre Dame. Dion's up in the high 30s. Tony Pike's had a tough day, but he's rallying now, finding DJ Woods. Extra point was missed when Zach Colares couldn't handle the snap. 38-30, 9 and change to go in the 4th on ABC.
Wow. Good finish coming here as well, Reese. The Rutgers down 3. And on the Wildcat play, Sanu The quarterback gets a couple. Going to bring up third down.
Talking about all those carries that Lewis is getting in that ball game. Oh, broadcast partner Keith Jackson used to say, "Why he's not that heavy. And he didn't belong to a union."
Third down and 5 at the 5-minute mark.
God has been quiet as this young man right here, an explosive player, leading receiver Timmy Brown, been quiet all day.
Battling an ankle injury in the game as Savage throws high, incomplete.
Had to throw that ball high.
Yeah, there was a linebacker in front of it, Goulbourne.
It's a good job by Goulbourne getting underneath the route, and you should try to throw from the pressure blitz side. Throw to the blitz. He threw away from the blitz right into the coverage of Goulbourne, dropping off into the short side of the field.
Fourth down and 5. And meanwhile on ESPN.com, guys, some news on Cincinnati head coach Brian Kelly. We'll tell you about that when we have a moment. And Delagana got it blocked. And they'll blow it dead at the 40-yard line on the block punt.
It's because it goes across the line of scrimmage. You can't advance it.
So it'll be West Virginia football at the 40.
If that would have been blocked and short of the line of scrimmage, then you could have picked it up and run with it.
It's Kent Richardson coming off the corner and gets low and does a good job of keeping the hand down, not up, and taking it off the foot. And he's beating Graves, the tight end.
Did he hit the ball or did he just hit the leg?
That young man's been taught how to hold the football. Did you see that? He was going Tiki Barber on everybody.
Yeah.
High and tight.
High and tight.
So Kent Richardson with the block. Pittsburgh will take over at the Rutgers 40. Scarlet Knights have 3 timeouts remaining.
Jared Brown going around slapping his offensive lineman. Don't goose him. Don't make him jump.
West Virginia with a football down 3. Devine taken down from behind for a loss by Alex Silvestro at the 44. I was talking about West Virginia. I accidentally said Pittsburgh. The news on Brian Kelly in that Cincinnati Pitt game is, according to ESPN.com, Brian Kelly said that next week, if Notre Dame were to ask to speak to him, he would, quote, entertain their request.
This comes out during the game. I mean, did he talk to somebody at halftime or what?
I don't know. It was on ESPN.com. Kelly was on a local radio show this week, said, I'm staying. I'm not going anywhere. I love Cincinnati. My family loves Cincinnati. We've heard that before, though. 2nd and 14. Jared Brown inside the 40, down to the 35. Going to bring up a big third down here. McCourty on the stop. We're being told that story on Brian Kelly was just updated 45 minutes ago, so perhaps it was at halftime.
I'll tell you, a good player right now for West Virginia is Clark, not only running the football, but he threw a heck of a block to spring Jared Brown. He essentially became a tailback in that formation, just a direct snap lead play with Clark leading the way for the quarterback draw here.
They throw it out for the bubble screen.
Chuck Sanders.
They got these guys outnumbered.
And some movement up front on 3rd and 6.
Full start. Offense. Number 51. 3rd yard down. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Eric Jobe. Goes to 3rd and 11 now. Hey, flip-flop Madsen and Jobe. Jobe normally the center, sometimes will play guard. Madsen was in at center there, and Jobe came up out of his stance. Well, each team has only one 3rd down conversion the entire game, and now it goes from a somewhat manageable 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 11. Rutgers trying to get all of its players off the field. They fumbled the snap, the ball loose, and Rutgers has it. Silvestro recovers it for the Knights.
Little confusion on the defense. I think Brown may have been looking over there. Maybe Madison may have been looking over there too. A bad snap. And this is what Rutgers needs to help their offense down the field. Defensive turnover. Schiano said this yesterday that whenever West Virginia substitutes, we have some trouble getting our guys in there.
But there was no penalty flag, and it's Rutgers ball. So the block punt by West Virginia doesn't come back to haunt the Scarlet Knights. Sanu got behind the defense again. The pass underthrown, though, incomplete. Savage had him as Sanu coasted past 2 defenders.
It's the same thing. I mean, the first play, they hit him deep. If you're West Virginia, you got to think, man, why don't we hit him deep? And I'll tell you, Sands was in bad position. What happened, Savage threw Sanu into the coverage. If he would have laid that ball on the outside, there's nobody there. There's nobody there.
Friend, look at your screen there. You see that, all that snow and that water and that perspiration coming down? That makes the ball hard to throw sometimes.
Well, and I understand that, but I just saw him do it 5 minutes ago. So do it again.
Well, maybe
with the wind blowing that way.
Maybe the time before he had a dry ball.
All right, Sanu in a quarterback now, and he plows forward for about 4 yards into West Virginia territory. Julian Miller on the stop.
They got guys with towels down there, Grease.
Let's look again here, guys.
Hey, I've been there and done this.
I know that.
All right.
If he stays out here, he's 6. He throws the ball inside, which brings Sands over to make a play.
The ball curved.
You can see the wind there.
He threw it so badly, the wind got a hold. It didn't have a tight spiral on it.
Play's over, guys. Move on.
All right, let's go. Next play.
3rd and 6.
You just hate to see a big play like that go for naught.
Savage. Pressure coming. And Savage threw it low. Brown should have caught it still, but it's incomplete. And Rutgers on 4th and 6. Gonna have to go for it here.
And J.T. Thomas forced a bad throw. And I'll tell you, if he gives him a ball to work with, and I understand he was under pressure, but if he gets a ball to work with, Timmy Brown has some room to work and a good first down.
But still, he got to
step in and throw.
Yeah. But you got to catch that ball, too. I mean, it's 3rd down. It's the end of the ball game.
Rutgers 4th down. They still have all their timeouts left. If they don't pick it up, and they could possibly get it back if they stop West Virginia.
Sorry, Dave, right there's going to be a little crossing route to Timmy Brown.
Right through the hands of Sanu and intercepted. Picked off by J.T. Thomas. It'll be West Virginia ball at the 46-yard line of Rutgers.
Yeah, he didn't have to throw that ball that hard. That ball went too hard and too high for the receiver to come down with it. Watch this, to protect. He's going to be thrown over to the right side. He's going to be wide open. Sanu kind of looked around where he's going to get hit, too.
But again, the game's not over because Rutgers does have 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah,
but West Virginia gets a couple of first downs, then it is over.
Oh, you give up a great opportunity.
Oh, sure.
Get the ball near midfield, and you squander a couple of chances to make first downs, at least first downs, and not a big play.
West Virginia calls a timeout. Championship weekend continues tonight with the Dr. Pepper ACC title game. Georgia Tech, Clemson, 2 of the best running backs in college football. Jonathan Dwyer and C.J. Spiller on ESPN tonight at 8 Eastern. What do you guys think about this matchup as we look at the snow continuing to come down in Piscataway?
I really like C.J. Spiller. You know, we're talking about backs going into the NFL and that. This kid may be the top back all-purpose, going into returning kicks, running from scrimmage, catching the football. C.J. Spiller is going to be a first-round pick.
I like the matchup because it was the opening game of the year. And it was a great football game and a tough loss for Clemson. We'll see if they can come back and respond. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm not normally a fan of rematches, but I'm a fan of this rematch up tonight.
Let's see what Jared Brown and West Virginia's offense can do here. Again, Rutgers with all of its timeouts remaining. They got the big back, Clark, running it. And he'll get inside the 45 to the 43. So he got 3 before Kitchen made the tackle, and then Rutgers calls a timeout. So
Rutgers,
that'll leave the Scarlet Knights with 2 remaining. Well, you're talking about the ACC championship. Don't forget, of course, you got the SEC championship today with Florida and Alabama. What do you guys think it'll take for Alabama to shut down Tim Tebow and stop that Florida offense today?
Well, I think Tim Tebow they haven't been that explosive on offense all year. They have the ability, and they haven't put up a lot of points on a lot of people, and Alabama plays great defense. But that doesn't mean they don't have the ability. So what you have to do, Just give Mark Ingram the football. Hopefully you're able to run the football, eat up clock, and keep their offense off the field.
Like I said before, I'm a big Tebow fan. He doesn't, doesn't do it like everybody else does it, maybe. But when it gets down to crunch time and you need first downs or touchdowns, he gets it done.
Meanwhile, 2nd and 7 for West Virginia. 2 timeouts remaining for Rutgers. Here's Clark again, and the Knights get him after a gain of 1 or 2. So 3rd down and long. Rutgers with 1 timeout remaining. Now, if you're West Virginia guys with 1:51 on the clock, 3rd down, do you throw it here, or do you force Rutgers to take its final timeout by running the ball on 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6, depending on where they spot it here?
I try to force them to use their timeout.
You know what I would do? I know this is going to be silly, and this is not Bill Belichick-like, but I would run a little bit of a play action because I think it's been there, or even a bootleg or something fancy. And if the play action isn't wide open, I have Jared Brown run it and make him use the clock, but at least put the option to throw the football to get the first down. It's 3rd and 6.
Are you telling me you got Tom Brady running this play?
Yeah, but I got Jared Brown that can run the football a little bit better than Brady. And plus, I know that Rutgers' offense hasn't had success driving the football the length of the field on me. I'm just saying, I put Jared Brown and give him a little option here.
Does the snow affect their decision? We'll see. 3rd down and 6. There's play action, and Brown one-on-one with Johnson. Brown with the stiff arm, and the first down, and probably the game.
That's exactly what you should do, and that's what he did. And I think it was a great call.
He had George Johnson out there in space, and Jared Brown got the better of him.
This is also the guy that fumbled the ball last time. Look at where he's carrying that ball. Great stiff arm.
He is carrying the football, but again, it's a great call. There's pulling guards. George Johnson actually in good position. His feet got crossed a little bit, and Jared Brown timed up the right jab right ahead. Good call, Coach. Good call.
Well, when you got a guy who's 230 pounds out there against a 250-pound defensive end, it's not a mismatch. And Brown just pushed him down and got the first down. And ball came out as they tried to down it, but there's a penalty flag down. Yeah. Offside on Rutgers. Oh. On the exchange, the Knights had the ball, but they were offside.
Defense. Middle guard. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's a good job of trying to time the snap. It's your only shot. Yeah, they did jump, but I'll tell you, they were close. They were close. You can't see from that angle whether they penetrated the neutral zone.
Yeah, that's what normally happens on that thing is the nose tackle right across from the center, and the ball either goes too soon or slaps the ball, and then the center loses control of it.
Things could get a little testy because Rutgers is going to do it again, and the West Virginia lineman and Bill Stewart won't like this. Watch them. They'll do it again.
They're trying to jump the snap. Yep. Offside call again.
Offside. Defense. Middle guard. 5-yard penalty.
Now, if you're Pete Carroll, Rick Neuheisel, or Jim Harbaugh, you throw a little play action, hit them deep right here. I love that, by the way. It's not West Virginia's job to stop West Virginia.
And Ryan Clark, today's outstanding player of the game, brought to you by Remax. 58 yards on the ground and a touchdown, and a lot of those in the second half. West Virginia is going to beat Rutgers for the 15th straight time. Greg Schiano is going to fall to 0-9 against the Mountaineers.
Not only the 58 yards, man, but he's been outstanding in being a blocker today. He's just really had a good football game.
Jared Brown will take a knee. Rutgers will use its final timeout with 27 seconds left.
Rutgers, 30-second timeout.
By the way, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh are now tied at 38 apiece, as you see on the bottom line.
Wow.
5:40 remaining in that game.
That offense in that weather.
Yeah.
Just tells me that nobody can play any defense anymore in this world. Scored 38 points, 76 total points in that weather? Seriously?
You think your defenses back when you were in college, if you had the spread to try and stop these little guys out, 2 on the right, 3 on the left, and he spreads you left to right across the field. You think you guys could hold him to the amount that you held him back then?
Yes, with the benefit of the blizzard that they're playing in. Yes.
That'll do it. From Piscataway, West Virginia beats Rutgers 15 straight in the series. Won by the Mountaineers. They get their 9th win of the season. They'll have a shot at number 10 in a bowl game. 24-21 is the final. West Virginia beats Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights fall to 8-4 and finish 3-4 in the Big East. West Virginia 5-2 in conference play. For Bob Greasy, Chris Spielman, our entire crew, this has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. I'm Dave Pasch, ESPN College Football Scoreboard. Up next as we go to Reese Davis in the studio.